Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, and Murlocs, to the HeroesCCL Free Agent Draft Show. My name is Bahamut, and I am joined by the wonderful Grubby and a new face coming into Season 2 of CCL. We've got McIntyre joining us with his extensive knowledge of Heroes the Storm and a little bit of knowledge of competitive play. My friends, Grubby, are you ready for an insanely fun day of drafting?
Yeah, I am. I want to see which players will be joining which teams, which of the hopefuls will find a realization of their path to becoming a pro player in Heroes of the Storm. It's where we connect the Storm League ladder, the viewing experience, the playing, and how HOTS was meant to be played 5 versus 5 with strategies. We connect it all together here. Season 2 has begun.
And McIntyre joining us right now. Thoughts, my friend, as we get into this draft day?
Yeah, excited for the day. So many new players, so many new names. I'm just loved seeing all of these players that I've played against in Storm League in the past. Finally, finding a place and maybe a home today. So really looking forward to it for sure.
Now, a lot of you might be sitting at home saying, Grubby, Bahamut, McIntyre, why are we having a draft show for Season 2? We did that in Season 1. Let's just get back into the season and start getting into games. We wanted to create within CCL a path to pro. The big thing here is we don't have these dominant teams that just go from season to season controlling and winning and winning and winning. That's nice and that's cool and everything, but we want to make the community Clash League about the community. And so this path to pro is very, very important. And these teams were able to keep 4 out of the 6 players, only having to release 2 players at minimum. So it's a lot of small drafting for some organizations and a lot more for others. And we can go ahead and look into what some of these teams will need here in just a little bit when it comes to this draft order in itself. And let's look at draft order for Chili Mountain specifically, as they are going to be releasing Dark Mach, Dark Chimera, Galna Gunner, and they have protected Make, Burgold, and Gia. Really, Gia coming into that latter half of the season had a lot of value for this Chili Mountain team, and I'm excited to see what is built around probably Gia, Burgold, and Make here. And we can now look at... Oh, yeah, go ahead, Grubby, please.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of motivation coming into this roster. They didn't have the best Season 1, and Gia was coming in a little bit later, really with the hope to give some fat wins to Chili Mountain, but it wasn't to be yet. Now, with half a new roster, let's see how much damage Chili Mountain can do.
I'm excited to see what their drafts are going to be as we look over into Granite Gaming's releases, because we can't talk about any protections as Granite Gaming has chose to release their entire roster and will be drafting a full new 6-man roster here. I'm very, very excited to see what they have coming out from them. Any notes from Mac here? Do you have any sort of predictions or excited picks that we might see for Granite?
I think this is kind of a power play in a way, right? To restart completely, just kind of start from the ground up. And with so many great options today, I'm excited to see what choices they choose to make. Where do they start? Is it a tank? Is it a support? What's their build around? So Granite really stepping up and saying, hey, we'll just start from new and see what we can build again. So I like that a lot for the players.
A team that isn't going to be starting from new is going to be 30K over here, and I agree with you. Granite Gaming has a lot of interesting choices. We do have the members of 30K protecting Fury, Hazuabs, BBJ, and Liam, releasing Azerite and Ty from the last season. I gotta say, though, the protected players on 30K's roster, that's already an insane core 4. Excited to see what the priority will be for 30K as we get into the draft day.
Yeah, that's a mammoth roster. Just releasing 2, I think, is one of the best strategies. It's so risky to release all 6 because you don't actually get more top priority picks than other teams. You get the final picks, but more about that later. It's a big risky play, but they really believe in the free agent pool. As for 30K, they're just going to release 2. Azerite was rank 1 on Europe ladder a couple of days ago. That tells you enough about the kind of talent they're holding on to if that's a release.
Absolutely. I absolutely love looking at it this way and being like, wow, they released like the number 1 in Europe, and that could be an early pick for them, just building back this roster and moving into Oxygen's roster right now, looking at what they protected and released going into Season 2 of CCL. That will be the protection onto Madara, Red Robot, Cascon, and Nasmus with the release of Prismaticism and Banana. And Mac here, I got to say, Cascon, they only played 1 game last season, but they were critical and instrumental for a lot of the drafting of Oxygen last season.
Yeah, I think it's great that Oxygen held on to him. Being a drafter for a team is so important to have, and knowing that you have that, as well as someone like Nasmus, previous experience, just being a competitive player. I loved Oxygen last season. They came out so fresh. They were this new roster, a bunch of young talent, and while they've released 2 players here, there's definitely room to pick up some possible new flexes, maybe another support. Yeah, there's so much room for them. I just love their energy, and I think that these 2 picks, they can go tons of different directions with them.
You make such a good point with the early season of Oxygen, because we talked about that extensively last season, about how they were kind of coming out and really showcasing a lot of different drafts, specifically making Abathur with Monstrosity meta in a sense. It was really cool to see that, as well as the Mind Control Sylvanas. As we jump over, though, 2 Wild Hearts protected and released players. We have Justing, Zergling, Buds, and Unaverted protected on the side of Wildheart, with Funds and Weary Day being released. And I could ask Grubby, I could ask McIntyre, and I'm curious, Grubby, I mean, do you have any thoughts as to what Wildheart could even draft, or is this just going to be a Wildheart sort of draft day in your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, man. Wildheart continually surprised us, becoming one of our favorite teams with their drafts, with the way that they unpacked the strategies that they had in their strategy bag. We couldn't anticipate them in those in-game drafts, nor can we anticipate what they might want to do in today's draft day.
It's Wildheart is always one of those teams that will just be wild in general. And now we can look at the Simplicity roster, as we had Cure, Lutano, Legacy, and Masquerade protected, with Collusion and Hosty being released back into free agency. And this core 4 is already really good. I think Simplicity has a ton of options and a really, really good, not priority, but just a spot within the draft today to kind of pick up exactly what they need, McIntyre.
Yeah, they have a champion core 4, right? These were the previous season 1 winners. Releasing 2 players, totally having the option if they want to, if those players get to their picks, to pick them back up, or going a completely different direction, regardless of the choice that they choose to make. I mean, that core 4 with Cure, Lutano, obviously Masca, everyone's favorite bathrobe, where this team is just awesome.
You gotta love the bathrobe interviews. Now, we do have to kind of catch everyone up on some other things that did happen during season 1. We did have the departure of Crowd Control, as we can see their released roster right there. Dequaza, Hebi, Lauber, Rutso, Dino, and X-Ray. All of these players are back into that free agent pool and can be drafted today. On top of Crowd Control leaving us, we do have Sidestep Kings as well, with Caterpillar, Kyocha, June, Ultralisk, Gotfilth, and Hyde back into the free agent pool as well to be potentially drafted today. There's a lot of big names out there. And as we mentioned, there's departure of 2 organizations. We do need to bring up the fact that we have 2 new organizations joining us for season 2 of CCL. We welcome in Onyx and Storm Esports as the 2 new orgs, and they will be drafting full new rosters today. There's so many players that are actually available in our HeroesCCL free agent pool. I'm ecstatic to be able to kind of go through a little bit of that and break this down and look at some of these players that we're going to be having drafted today, or potentially drafted today. As we look through this first 1 through 50, I got to say the big ones that kind of pop out to me, Caterpillar is always that in-game leader, experience, knowledge, and their tanking prowess is, in my opinion, legendary. And as also to note, though, Dino, like, I cannot stop seeing amazing plays from Dino, and I would expect them to be high priority in this draft. Moving on into our next set of players here, Mac, is there anyone that you kind of are excited for looking at this list?
My highlight player here is actually someone that I mistakenly called Joe in the beginning, just because of a letter I couldn't read in game. But Jay, Hodor, his flexibility as an offlaner, he showcased Sonya. He showcased Vikings. I hate playing against Vikings, and if you can play it, then please be on my team. So Jay is definitely a player that I look out for on this list. And IB Tings, another name that some may recognize, coming back, really showing flexibility, can be a jack of all trades. Both of these players, I want to say, I'd love to see them get drafted here today.
Oh, there's just a slew of names that we have here today. And that's not even all the players either. We still have more players to actually show for all of you. And I got to say, like, there's so many that just pop out. But Grubby, in this last list of players, anyone that kind of stands out to you here?
Yeah, a lot of good players here. I'm looking at Ultralisk, who of course was released from his roster. Very powerful player. I'm also seeing Uki over there, which is the Dutch word for little one. He was actually one of my first Twitch moderators on my Twitch stream, and now he's become this phenomenal offlane player. Fairly high priority, I would say. So yeah, I'm looking at him and I'm gonna see, is he gonna make it in?
I would really hope so, Grubby. Uki, or Uki, I think is actually the proper way for me to say that, has had some insane Hogger plays, but their solo lane prowess has been not unmatched, but it's really high up there. And someone in the solo lane, I'm sure Matt can attest to this, is a hot priority for a lot of these teams.
Definitely.
I gotta say, it's astonishing to see how many free agents we have, and we did have the opportunity to actually sit down and ask a few of these free agents what it would mean to be drafted into HeroesCCL. We got that little video ready for you all at home.
Heroes of the Storm is really a game for me where I can throw all my competitive drive at, and there's a really friendly community that really wants to help grow together.
Heroes of the Storm is deeply rooted in me for two main reasons. One, I have memories of playing classic Blizzard games before I could even read. And the second is that the hard grind to climb in rank is the unifying goal that brings us gamers together.
The Heroes of the Storm community means so much to me. I found incredible friendships 5 years ago that are still strong today. And I found so much communities that answered a different purpose, like inclusion, growth, and friendship.
Heroes of the Storm means so much to me as a game and as a community. As a game, it includes everything that I've loved to play since childhood. As a community, it's allowed me to make lifelong friends both through the internet and in real life.
It would show me an aura that believes in me and my ability to grow as a player, which would motivate me like a lot to show the community what I can do.
Being drafted is the opportunity I've been waiting for to compete at a level that I can show my full potential. As the game evolved, playing professionally became one of my life goals, and being drafted would have just be considered a recognition to the many years and hard work and dedication I've put into the game.
Being drafted for Season 2 of CCL would mean that I will be able to compete in the highest level I can ever play, and that I can finally prove what I'm worth to myself.
Getting drafted for CCL Season 2 would mean validation and that the many years I've spent playing this game have paid off.
I'll start streaming once a week.
If I'm drafted for Season 2 of CCL, I would do my absolute best to excel in my role as an offlaner. I'd also make Chen S tier in everyone's opinion by the end of the season.
If I'm drafted for Season 2 of CCL, I will keep learning and improving.
If I get drafted for CCL Season 2, I'll put in the work and show everyone why they should have drafted me in Season 1.
Those videos always get me. I honestly, it's just so cool to see what it means to these players to be drafted into CCL and what CCL means to just even players within the community, whether or not they're drafted. And it's just so cool to see the personal side and how much it means to them. And thank you to all the players that did join us for that video. Now that we kind of got you caught up on the players, the community side of things as well, let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of today. We need to look at how our draft order is going to be formulated and taking place, because there's a lot of kind of little ins and out that we need to kind of keep you all up to date when it comes to this draft show. So right now, we're going to go ahead and look at our round one. You can see that we're going to start with Onyx and then go into Storm. And then actually Storm has another one. Well, as I mentioned beforehand, these new organizations are going to actually be drafting in a snake draft format. You can actually see in round 2, there's a little bit of a swap there, and then round 3 as well. Whereas our core, or our, our returning roster, the organizations, they will be drafting based off of the rankings from last season. So that's why you're seeing Chili Mountain, then Granite Gaming, 30K, etc. And you'll have that ticker at the bottom of your screen all day to keep you up to date at what round we're in, who's drafting in what order, and then on and so forth. I'm just so excited about this day, Grubby. As we're getting into all of this, we kind of looked at all those players. We looked at this video and what it meant to be in CCL. Do you have any thoughts just kind of going into this draft? Like, what would your priority be if you were the first pick organization? Are you looking at a tank? Are you looking at a range DPS? Like, I'm just curious to kind of dive into Grubby's mind a little bit.
Well, I think you're looking for maybe like some kind of in-game leader, perhaps a tank or a support, as they are a little bit, the cornerstone of a team. Yeah, and hopefully someone that has a positive impact on everyone else. You can bet you're behind that the top picks are going to be incredibly important and much theorized about by each respective team. And we see our 2 new organizations, Onyx and Storm Esports, are getting those double priority picks early on so that they can make up for not having the choice of having their season 1 roster carried over. Great system.
And just as we're about to get into this draft show, I just want to give a little bit of a background really quickly. I actually talked with Jules yesterday, and I found out this wasn't just put together in April. This wasn't put together last month. She's been working on this. Our fearless commissioner has been working on this with the organizations since November. This is a labor of love for the HeroesCCL community, and we want to be able to give these organizations the best possible opportunity as well. That's why we have the snake draft for the new orgs, because the remaining organizations going into the season actually wanted to give them priority to allow these new organizations to have a chance. And it's not just going to be the old organizations or the remaining or the originals just kind of dominating through the draft. It's a really, really well run. And I just want to give credit where credit's due to the orgs as well as to Jules, the commissioner, for really putting this on and getting us here into our season 2 HeroesCCL draft. We are ready to go, everyone. We are going to begin the draft here in just a little bit, and we will get into our first interview with the first org in a few seconds. Actually, I think we're actually ready to go into this. So let's go ahead and bring on Chris from Onyx, and let's see what we are going to get here. Welcome in, my friend. Are you ready for draft day?
I am. I'm super hyped to be here.
Well, I got to ask that. We got to get right into it. Do you have a first pick for us? I don't want to theorize any further. I mean, who's going to be kicking off our HeroesCCL draft day for Onyx?
Okay, yeah. So I have an idea. So after listening to Grubby about his final input, which I took to my heart, I think
Sure.
it is important, to start with a real stone in the team. So the first pick for Onyx will be actually Bad Benny.
Wow, Bad Benny going to be coming out. Now, you know what? Let me throw this over to Mac. You have any questions for Chris on this pick for Bad Benny?
Yeah, so Bad Benny, a tank player. Was that your first priority here? Was it a discussion maybe you had with him prior to this pick? Which direction did you go?
Actually, not necessarily. So this is maybe more as a tactical pick, because of course there are other orgs who are fighting for good players, and Benny is an exceptional player. So he will be definitely one of the more experienced ones in the team. So I've spoken about a little bit earlier that I want to have also young blood in there, but he's like I said, a rock solid stone who's keeping the balance.
Nice.
Absolutely.
A great tank player to kick things off here. Grubby, did you have a question about the Bad Benny pickup as well?
There are other tanks, obviously. There's other healers. Do you think tank is going to be the main role that people should be starting with, considering the talent pool? Or do you really feel like Bad Benny in particular and what he brings in his mindset, perhaps in his method, was the most important?
Yeah. So I'm also still quite new to Heroes of the Storm, so I started to get deeper like in mid-February now. And I feel like the tank is a super important position because he's also who's doing some calling in-game when engagements should happen. So I believe for a whole new team, this should be actually one of the first picks. But of course, there are others out there who have that tank already and who maybe can structure it a little bit around. But for me, it was quite important, yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris from Onyx, joining us, and congratulations on your first pick with Bad Benny. We'll see you in a little bit for your next pick, my friend.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think this is really good because we sat down before this entire event and talked about this a little bit, and we kind of had like not a caster prediction of who's going to get picked up, but definitely Bad Benny's on that list, really, really up there. Considering Lauber, Cattle, those are all still picks that are up and available for our draft day here, McIntyre.
Yeah, he was definitely on the list. I think as Chris said, just having that previous experience, Bad Benny's been on tons of different competitive teams. He's been a leader. He's been that tank player, that reliable rock, as Chris was saying. So I definitely think he's a great choice and a player that's pretty active in the scene, especially since last season. So he's probably got a couple players that he's got in mind as well, maybe to now draft with his first pick presence on Onyx. So I'm excited to see how that roster builds out and what follows behind that Bad Benny pick.
If memory serves me correct, Bad Benny did do a little bit of coaching for one of the CCL teams last season as well. So this is going to be kind of, I think this is a multi-level win for the side of Onyx, being able to pick up someone like Bad Benny with their experience, their shot calling, as well as just their knowledge and being able to help players grow. This is, as Chris said, this is a wonderful, wonderful rock for this composition. But we're not going to stick too long on this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on into our next pick here. We are going to be welcoming in Alcove from Storm Esports. Welcome in, my friend. And I'm going to get right to it. Who is going to be your pick going into season 2 of CCL?
Jumping right into it. I like
yeah.
it. Oh yeah. So going into this season fresh, right off the rip, we're going to be going with Lauber.
All right. Okay.
Excellent.
Grubby, I'm going to throw this one over to you. Lauber, you might know them a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I should ask, but like, were you also going to go for Bad Benny and Lauber's choice number 2, or was Lauber always the one that you were hoping you're going to get in this first pick?
Yeah, I think we've always had our eyes on Lauber, just based on him as a player and him as a person. So he's been kind of a person of interest for us since jumping in, and I'm glad we could lock it in and make it happen. So it should be a fun season.
Now, I don't want to ask just the same question about tanking here, but what does Lauber bring to the table over someone like Cattle in this situation? They're both extremely strong tank players, but what's the priority for Lauber over Cattle? That's my blunt question. I got to know.
Yeah, 100%. I think when it comes to him, we seem to have a good vibe, and we're working a little bit, and I like the way that what he brings to the table in terms of his shot calling and just his really just way to just dive and just go in, and putting a team that's going to be able to follow up is going to be really great. So
I like it a lot. Mac, did you have any questions about this Lauber pickup as well?
I just want to agree. I think Lauber's energy, great pick, Alcove. I'm curious if it had anything to do with his ability to cosplay Diva. I know for me, he's about as good as cosplaying Diva as drafting her on Infernal Shrines, for example. You see her a lot there. So did that have anything to do with it, or was it more the energy and tank ability?
Yeah, I think it definitely played a factor. That's definitely a consideration for us, his cosplay abilities. So we'll have to keep that in mind going through the season with him. So
perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the short little interview. We'll see you in just a few seconds here. And thank you again for that little pick right there.
Absolutely.
I gotta say, I believe if I'm reading things like the messages I'm getting, if everything's correct here, I believe we're actually going to be seeing a swap onto some picks. So we're going to have a little bit of trading here. We'll have production confirm that. And actually, okay, so it is going to be a trade. Okay, so actually, BBJ for third pick. Whoa.
Okay. So normally we would see Storm Esports going with another pick here back to back, but you're saying that rather than picking another player right now, they're giving 30K a chance to pick someone now, and they're taking BBJ into their squad?
Yes.
That is exactly it. That's big. That's some big move.
Power play, yes. Seriously.
How many times can a team do that for the viewer?
I believe it's twice, right?
Yeah.
I believe there's two trades during the draft show.
So this is a trade happening here from 30K and Storm. I mean, a big play too. This must have anchored off of the fact that Lauber is now drafted. from Storm and maybe a synergy there between BBJ and Lauber that just unlocked that we can talk about for sure. But also now 30K with a third pick. This is a big play, right? The priority of flex players, we were just talking about how their roster was already so strong. Getting rid of Azerite, number 1 in EU. I have no idea where they go from here. That is insane.
I honestly, like, I saw the messages and I just double checked on the back end of everything, and I was like, no, we're actually going to be seeing this. So BBJ swapped off of 30K roster, and so literally Storm Esports already has Lauber and BBJ. That is a dynamic, terrifying duo that we have for Storm Esports. But it does remind me of season 1 draft, Grubby and McIntyre. Remember when, Michael Udall kind of got everything he wanted through that draft rating, his spot. So, I mean, maybe Mike read the script and knows exactly what to do for today's draft show, but I'm blown away by this swap right here. I cannot believe that actually went through, and I'm really, really excited to see what 30K is going to prioritize here, jumping up in the draft order. This is absolutely crazy.
I'll say this. It is nice because BBJ dies a lot and gets caught, but I think Lauber gets caught and dies even more. So maybe he's going to protect BBJ and be the first to go. That way BBJ won't be the first in team fights. So there's some synergy there just naturally between the two of those players.
So you're saying
I really like for Storm.
There's not
if you get caught.
Yeah.
If you get caught as 5, are you really getting caught? That's the strategy here. So they just need 3 more. If what you say is true, which honestly shocks me, drama popcorn. But if what you say is true, then we need 3 more inters, and then it's not an int anymore.
Brilliant. We just where are we at on the list? Can we pull? No,
I believe we call that a dive comp in Heroes the Storm, something like that, or a die comp, one or the other. I think I play that way often in my own games.
Well,
sorry, Grubby, did you have a point? I cut you off.
Sorry, Grubby. I think that Baha, we should probably talk about 30K though. They now have third pick. Let's where do we go from there?
Yeah, we do have actually Michael Udall ready to go, and we'll bring him on in here. And he is here to announce his next pick. Welcome in, 30K owner Michael Udall. Are you ready to tell us who you're going to be picking up for your roster for season 2?
Hey, I just want to start this off and say we made another trade. And I need to say that we think BBJ is an excellent player, and Storm and everyone over at Alcove, I'm really happy that BBJ is going to be able to go and play with, one of his really good friends, Lauber. He is not someone that I am, happy to lose, but who we're going to be picking up in this third place definitely is going to be making it worth it. We're going to be picking up X-Ray. He is a really, really strong player, and we're really excited to have him join our team, and we think he is just what we need for season 2.
X-Ray is a very, very vocal in-game healer. I've been able to jump into their comms quite a bit. I think this is an exceptional pickup for 30K's roster. Any thoughts here, Grubby, for Mike?
Yeah, great pick. Congratulations with that. Both excellent players, like you said, BBJ and X-Ray. I'm looking forward to jumping in on comms and hearing, I stun.
Yeah, well, and for transparency, I think that's something that our team kind of lacked in season 1. We didn't have a strong in-game leader, and I think as far as in-game leaders go, X-Ray is one of the best. So I really am excited to get him into our team, integrated to really take that strong, leader and shot caller role. Excited for what 30K has to offer in season 2, and thank you guys all on the broadcast. So happy to be a part of this.
Oh well, thank you for joining us, and oh, actually, no, we'll stick on to you for a little bit longer here, Mike. I actually want to get a question out from McIntyre as well when it comes to this X-Ray pickup.
So I'm curious about X-Ray as a drafter. Is that something that you guys had to consider with this pick, or did your team have a drafter before? Was BBJ your drafter? Where's your team at on that?
Yeah, so I mean, we had a bit of a amalgamation for like the first season. We tried a couple of different people, leading the draft. BBJ did start out, and then we had Mene come in, help, former Dignitas, one of the best mage players in the world. He came in and helped coach, and he kind of helped take over some of the draft. But yeah, that is also part of why we're looking at X-Ray. Is not only is he a shot caller, he also brings a strong team identity when it comes to draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you have a really, really strong draft ideology, I think is the right way to say that. And I'm excited to see what 30K does further along in the draft day. But thank you so much for joining us, Mike. We'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you.
So X-Ray picked up for the side of 30K here. This is, I personally, I think this is actually expected. X-Ray is such a good healer. I think Grubby kind of put it perfectly. I stun. Like I could literally hear those comms in my head at that point as well. And their healer pool is exceptional as well. It's like I can think back to their Malfurion play, their Ana play as well. They've got that Stukov pickup as well. So this is going to be exciting for 30K as they get that healer in, trading out BBJ. So it is going to be the replacement. But I'll be honest here, I'm still a little shocked that we have BBJ and Lobber over to the side of Storm Esports already, Grubby.
Yeah, I feel the same way. But just talking about this X-ray pickup, looks like talking about this X-ray pickup. I've been in teams, actually. I've been in esports teams where generally the level of play is good, the camaraderie is good, but the energy isn't there. You always need someone when the motivation, when the tides are high and when they're low, to bring that energy and to keep things vocal, because it's very normal to get quiet when you are a little bit behind. And I do think X-Ray is going to be able to bring that. Hasuops is kind of this chill, mellow atmosphere creator, and maybe X-Ray will amp up the energy a bit, which is great for team spirit and performance.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head there, Grubby. That is actually an amazing point too, because Hazuobs has insane and almost infinite knowledge of Here's the Storm, but I think that energy, that hype man almost through X-Ray is going to be a big factor for 30K. Moving into the next pickup for our HeroesCCL draft day, we are going to be bringing back Chris from Onyx, and we're going to be finding out what is going to be the next pickup coming out for your team.
Well, for us, there's only one choice. It's the legend, the myth, the god. It's Godfilth.
Oh! Definitely a legend.
Yeah, a player that has popped off within the in-houses just back to back to back. Just Chris, let me ask you, why the priority onto Godfilth? Is it the skill level? Is it shot calling? What does Godfilth bring to the table for Onyx?
Actually, general, I'm looking to big personalities mostly. So I've spoken with many players. I think I've spoken with 70 players in total, and I was selecting the ones who weren't only very good in the game, but also who matched the vision I have with Onyx and with the team. And Godfilth, he was bought in immediately. And to be honest, all the people I have on my list, they are all first picks for me. But in the end, Godfilth is maybe one more of the hot picks which are there, who's maybe interesting even for other orgs. So this is the pure reason why I need to pick him early, because otherwise I maybe not get him. But in the end, all people who I'm going to pick, they're all equal for me with the value they bring to the team.
You make a really good point with that. Yeah, Grubby, please.
You're not just thinking according to the roadmap of what you need, but you've looked and put yourself in the shoes of every other organization, seeing which players they still need, which roles they need, and then thinking what needs to be higher priority for you in order to contend with them for those roles.
Indeed, yeah. To be honest, I spend way too much time in
It's not possible.
So I watched so many VODs. I actually wrote down who played which map and so on to see who's maybe how important to which org, even the players who got dropped.
Wow.
So yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done it, but at least I got Heroes of the Storm a little bit more through that.
Yeah. Nice.
You definitely learned a ton from that. It's I know how much work you've put into this, and it's really cool to kind of get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. So thank you for joining us, Chris from Onyx. We'll see you a little bit later for another pick, but congratulations on that pickup on Godfilth there.
Thank you. See you later.
See you soon. Godfilth, though, I mean, this isn't a surprise either. As I said, we were talking about a lot of these picks before we got into the draft show this weekend, and Godfilth definitely high priority in that list, McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, he said he put maybe too much work in, but I mean, I want to applaud him. He now has a team that consists of Bad Biddy and Godfilth. That is an incredible start for coming into Heroes without any prior knowledge. Those two picks, building a team around that should be fairly easy. At this point, you have an experienced veteran and a new young blood kind of, gunning to be the best out of Godfilth. So, I mean, I love these two picks from him. And I also love that he kind of highlighted every player on my team as my first pick. that just because these guys are picked first does not mean that I respect them and want them more than the third, fourth, fifth, and even sixth player. So I really like that energy. Great pickups from Onyx.
I absolutely agree. There's a lot of just humbleness through Onyx as well, through that as well, just how much work they put in and just trying to learn and understand as much as they possibly can for HeroesCCL. Moving into our next pick, though, we are going to be bringing in Sid from Chili Mountain. Welcome in, my friend. Are you ready to give us your pick for Season 2 of HeroesCCL?
Yes, we are ready.
Who do we have?
Our pick is Banana H.
Oh, okay. Banana H, a strong healer coming in for Chili Mountain. Is the priority for specifically the role or their knowledge? What's Chili Mountain's thoughts for this?
Yeah, so it's a variety of things. You know, he's known for being a playmaking support, so that's number one importance for us. And also, he's been playing with our team in other leagues, so we know he already fits the vibe with the team. He kind of fits the culture and everything, so he's a good fit there. He's also very like versatile, which was important for us, and just like mechanically skilled. So it was like a combination of these things, and overall, we think he was our pick that we should have gone with first.
That's really it's a strong pickup for Chili Mountain here. And you were talking about synergy. Grubby mentioned just a few moments ago that they played on some competitive teams, and having this early synergy. Grubby, how do you feel about this banana pickup that they've already been practicing with Chili Mountain?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations on a great pickup. Mostly, I'm wondering, you had the offlane role, you had the healer role to cover. Was it healer that you consider to be more important, or specifically something that drew you towards Banana H?
You know, it was a tough call there, and it was a combination of things. Like I said, Banana H is just so mechanically skilled that we really wanted to prioritize that. And we were hoping that our next pick will be available as well, but it was really a tough pick there.
Okay.
Yeah. McIntyre, any questions for Chili Mountain as we kind of wrap up our little banana pickup here?
Not so much of a question, but I do want to kind of highlight to Sid, like that personality thing. How much does Chili Mountain value that? The players get along? Are you guys working with maybe additional picks that you have in mind that also have had that kind of talk with the team?
Yeah.
Where are you guys at on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for this season, it was really high priority for us that the team synergy was there. So we interviewed a lot of people, and just trying to get a feel for who they are as a person, and more of like a personality type of thing, because we really wanted them to vibe with our players who all have really strong personalities already, like our core team. And then as well as like anyone who would come in, mesh with us, as well as the staff and the overall culture at Chili Mountain. So yeah, it was really high priority for us.
I love that.
Wow, it's a lot of synergy you've considered here for your pickup, and we're excited to see what you pick up later on in the draft. Thank you for joining us, Sid, for your first pick in the HeroesCCL draft day.
Thanks, guys.
Banana, there's here. Let me back things up for a second here. Not only just Banana, but there's been a lot of support priority. The swap of BBJ, X-Ray for the side of, I believe, 30K, if I'm not mistaken. We've also got Banana coming in for Chili Mountain. Do you think that healer might be the early priority? Because I put a lot of stock into tank and offlane personally. I'm Grubby. Sorry, let me throw it to one of you.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, there's still a decent support pool to pick from, right? Like there's a lot of skilled healer players there. One may wonder, are teams generally going to be looking up to pick up one healer only, one support, or maybe two? Will that be the norm? That might explain some of these early pickups on as well.
That makes a lot of sense, being able to have that kind of flex with your healer roles, and you can kind of pop in some niche heroes here and there. But moving into our next pickup from Granite Gaming, we're going to welcome in Kim, and we'll find out in just a second here. Welcome in. What is going to be your first pick for Granite Gaming as you're rebuilding that entire roster, Kim?
Yeah, hi, and thank you for being here. Our first pick will be Ultralisk.
Whoa, okay. Ultralisk, standout DPS player. McIntyre, I got to throw this right to you. I'm sure you've been watching a lot of Ultralisk, and you have a burning question for Granite Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about supports being a priority, and here you are, Granite, coming out prioritizing a DPS? Is it the mechanical skill of Ultralisk that you're really highlighting here, or is it more of his leadership as an experienced player in the scene that you're really selling on for him?
I think it's more like the second thing you're pointing out here,
Okay.
and I think that's like a really good champion pool, a heroes pool.
Yep.
So that's why, and if we get the draft that we want, I think he will fit our team really good.
Excellent. He's a great pick. Good, awesome choice.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, has had standout games through in-houses and scrims, as well as the free agent tournaments that we did host as well. When you're considering the role that you're going to prioritize, obviously you went for DPS here. Is there anything that Granite Gaming maybe holds a little over when it comes to the other picks in the draft? I'm kind of trying to pull a little information out from you, so I just want to know, like, is Granite going to be looking for a core roster that has a lot of mechanical prowess, or is it going to be a core roster looking more for a synergistic kind of leadership?
I would say probably time will show you.
Okay. Okay. All right. My favorite thing is always to try and get some of this information out from the orgs, and you're rock solid. You're rock solid.
I don't want to spoil anything, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no spoilers from Granite. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your pick of Ultralisk to kick things off for your Season 2 roster.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Grubby, I mean, coming out with a DPS player first as you're rebuilding a roster, that's a bit of a big pickup.
Yeah, I mean, this was always going to be a very different approach here for Granite Gaming, because they're rebuilding a whole roster. They need 6 players, and they need all of that to work together. Honestly, a little frightening. It's the most daring choice that anyone has made. But he looks composed. He's protecting his future information, starting with the DPS. There were some other great DPS to pick up as well, like, for instance, Azurite or Dino. He thinks Ultralisk above all is the most important. We will tell. We will be able to tell in time how that pans out. Also, when we see the next picks coming in, very interesting pickup there.
I agree. Like, he's just infinite on their ranged assassin pools. It feels like I don't think I would lock them into being like, oh, they're just a god Cassia or they're just a god Li Ming. Like, I feel like I've seen them on almost any ranged assassin and be extremely impactful on that role as well, McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Granite, while they did start over and they have to rebuild, they're essentially playing blackjack without having to show a face card or not, right?
Okay.
They have the world to kind of go whichever direction, roll with the punches. Whatever this team drafts, they can draft a tank if that tank's left open. Where other teams, because they have 4 already, like a core, they're kind of tunneled in on what they have to play. Granite doesn't have that flexibility, and a ranged pick kind of keeps that flexibility open for them. So I like the choice a lot.
It's a nice flexibility, definitely, for Granite Gaming. As we move on into our next pickup, we're going to be joined back by Michael Udall, the owner of 30K. Welcome back, my friend. You had a crazy swap in that 3rd round. You've picked up X-Ray so far, and what is 30K going to be picking up for their 2nd pick in the CCL draft?
So a good friend of mine, Masquerade, he always talks about the best European DPS player, and it's Dino. So we are going to be picking Dino. I'm so excited. I didn't expect him to get here, and pairing up X-Ray, Hasu, Dino. I'm really excited for season 2 of 30K Heroes of the Storm.
It's a devastating roster you're putting together there, Mike. I want to ask Grubby, though, what are your thoughts of this Dino pickup and maybe even the synergistic value that 30K is building?
Yeah, Dino's skill level, I think, is well known. I want to ask something a little bit different. You yourself have always been very aware of extracurricular content outside of just being a pro, which you are an ex-pro as well. Is the fact that Dino streams also a part of your decision making, or is this purely rawly about his level?
It's a mix of both, right? So the way that I characterize it, and now that I've gone into an org owner, kind of the way that I process and think about players. So, kind of in the first most important category is, are they a good fit for the team when it comes to play, right? Like, are they going to be a good mesh? Are they going to be a good player? And then under that secondary is kind of like those extracurriculars, and they're really important, right? As like in esports and entertainment, industry, we need to have players that are creating content, and Dino has been recently getting into YouTube, and it's like anime hots on YouTube. So if you guys have not, no, I'm serious, they are amazing. If you have,
they're really good.
They're so good, and it's like, yeah, of course that's something I'm looking at. So not only do I get, you know, the best or one of the best European DPS players, but we also get someone that's making great content, and that bodes well for the future of CCL, 30K, and Heroes of the Storm. So yeah, that definitely is something I look at, Grubby.
That's a big factor to consider. It's not a lot of not a lot of organizations, but I feel like that's not the priority in content creation. A lot of the times it's just, hey, are you going to be strong as a team? Can you play the game? Can you win the CCL matches? But 30K thinking a little further outside the box, and I'm excited to see how this roster plays out for you all in the season itself. Thanks for joining us, Mike, and congratulations on your pickup as well.
Thank you.
So Dino picked up for 30K, and Mac, I think that's a really good point that Mike made, and I wasn't even considering that at all. Is just even that content perspective, like that's a big factor for a lot of these players in not only exposure of themselves but the organization they're headed by.
Yeah, it's buy a salad mix and then the dressing is inside. You thought you were just buying the mix itself and providing the dressing, but it was included, right? In this case, I think the roster is so good with Dino. Like, let's not even think about the content, right? We have X-Ray and Dino, two insane pickups. That core was already great. I mean, then to get anime meme videos on YouTube, he's adamant about it. He loves to stream on Twitch. These are like bonuses, right? So I think a money pick there from 30K and Udall.
Yeah, well, with that, we actually have our next pick already up and available. We're going to be able to welcome in Steve from Oxygen Esports in just a second, actually. Sorry about that. Just a little juke for you. We got to keep you on your toes there, chat. But now we've got Steve joining us. Welcome in, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. How about yourselves?
We're doing great. We're excited to find out what Oxygen is going to be picking up for Season 2 of HeroesCCL.
Well, if we're going to jump right into it, we're happy to announce that we're going to be picking up Draded.
Ooh, Draded. That's a big name right there. I'm going to throw this right over to McIntyre for some questions.
Yeah, so Draded and an old school name. Definitely when it comes to flex players, in my mind, he was a highlight back when he played. Was this a reason why Oxygen's decided to choose him today here as a first pick?
Yeah, so we had tryouts, and one of the things that we kind of discussed as a team is that we really needed to fill the gap left by the drops that we had in Season 1. So we felt that Draded was going to be the best person to fill that gap. And what's also played a big factor in the actual decision was that Coach Cav and Draded have a really good working relationship. So we're excited to see how that develops over the course of Season 2.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a great pick. He's honestly one of the most enthused players when he really has a team that he believes in. So excited for Oxygen.
Cool. Thank you.
I think it's an interesting point that you made, and I'm just curious about this. You have the synergy you said between Cav and Draded already. Do you think that's going to translate into the roster that you currently have and the upcoming pickup as well? Are you just really trying to build synergy with these players and kind of camaraderie, or is it still like Oxygen, we're gonna still catch you off guard in the later half of the draft here?
No, I think that with our core, we have some really amazing guys that bring the hype. I feel that we were probably one of the most exciting teams to watch in Season 1. So anybody that we can bring in to help kind of raise the bar just a little bit more, that's what we're aiming for, and that's what we're hoping that he brings.
Well, we're excited to see what they're able to bring to the table in Season 2 of CCL. Thank you for joining us for that little draft pick, and we'll see you a little bit later there, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
So Draded's a big name coming out from, I believe, HGC days? Like, that's a lot of knowledge that they're bringing to the table here. Do you think that that's enough? Do you think that with the knowledge of Cavalier, the drafting of Cascon, and the skill set and mechanical prowess of Draded, this is going to amplify Oxygen to a new level for Season 2? I guess
definitely.
Either of you, really, yeah. Sorry.
I would say that, again, we've lost Prismaticism as Oxygen. And so now who do we pull back to kind of fill those shoes? And Draded, I would say, is a great choice for that. Previous pro player, kind of plays the flexible characters. I know, when I think of Draded, Genji, Tracer, these are the kind of flashy all-star play making characters in the game. And he can play all of them really well. So, and as Steve said, keeping that hype energy, these are plays that will bring that for Oxygen. And if the players they play around that, then yeah, no brainer, great choice. He'll definitely pop off for the team, and if the team feeds off of that energy, then they're going to be set up wonderful.
Speaking of energy, we are going to be joined by Goon from WildHeart here, and I know that's a level of energy that Grubby's really excited for to find out what WildHeart's going to be prioritizing. Welcome in, Goon. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How y'all doing? Long time no see.
It's been a little bit. Yeah. It's been a little bit, but at least I'm itching to know what WildHeart wants to prioritize in this CCL draft.
Yeah. So for our pick here, we're going to be going with Hosty. Actually, just kidding. The PayPal transaction didn't go through on time. We're going to go with Weary Day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Weary Day.
Popcorn.
It took me a second there because I was staring at the production feed like, who were you okay, all right. But it is going to be Weary Day joining the roster of WildHeart. Now, if memory serves me correct, they were on the Season 1 roster as well, were they not?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Weary Day, strong player, got to play the playoffs, the finals as well for us. Integral member of the team, helps out with the draft and helps to keep Justin's drafts from getting a little too crazy. So a good balance for sure.
I know Grubby loves your drafts. So I'm sure he's got a burning question for you for this pickup.
Yeah, you have an agent pool of 150 players almost, and then Weary Day, he was on your team. There was no one else that impressed you as much as the synergy that you already felt that you had. Were you actually anticipating picking up Weary Day from the second you told CCL who you're letting go?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on getting him back.
yeah. Appreciate it. It's we have a fantastic thing going, and don't want to mess that up.
Nice.
I agree. It's why not build back the synergy of Season 1 and continue that growth as a team together. Excited to see what WildHeart has further down in our draft day. But for now, we're gonna send you away, and thanks for joining us, Goon.
Yeah. I'll see you guys in a bit.
See you in a little bit. That Weary Day pickup, it's not surprising per se. Like WildHeart definitely feels like one of those organizations that's very family based, if that makes any sense. Like this is like, Fun's moms is going to bring the Capri Sun. At the same time, I mean, Fun's could be drafted by another team right now because they were released after Season 1. So we'll see if WildHeart can get the Capri Suns picked up by Fun's mom, or if it's going to be someone else having to bring the snacks for the weekend games for WildHeart. I think it's cool though. I do think it's really cool that they're building back this entire roster, and if that's the game plan of WildHeart, that's really interesting to me for the upcoming season.
What we do know is that while maybe the Capri Suns may not be there, we do have Weary Day, who has enough respect from Justin to not allow him to go off the wall, right? That's a big thing, right? When you get a little too hypey and confident in yourself, like things get weird. They really can. And having a player that, maybe not necessarily playing every game, but being in the ear and helping the team along, as Goon has kind of highlighted here, is super important. So while I'm sad that our drafts from them may not consist of Zagara, Murky, Asmodan, Abathur, and maybe a Viking, we'll see. Maybe it will happen. But it's nice to know that there is someone there that is kind of looking from the outside in and being like, okay, guys, this is a little much. Like, I understand we're feeling ourselves, but let's just take a tank instead.
So, WildHeart taking a tank. I don't know about that sentence there, Mac. I did want to get Grubby's thoughts though. Building back this roster, do you think that there's an inherent synergy with this? Do you think this is a smart play for WildHeart?
Yeah, it is definitely, I think, an advantage. We can look at new rosters and speak of their potential, but we saw in Season 1 that teams were slowly ramping up to become more and more powerful headed into the second half of the season. So we cannot deny that getting the gang back together of a roster that was top 2, top 3, top 4 in level is a very powerful move. And none of the other teams have tried to throw a wrench in those gears yet. Almost. We saw Goons picking up Hosty. We should have actually had a rule where, like, if you don't amend it within 3 seconds, it's final.
Yeah, it's like the drop fruit rule. It's good for 3 seconds, and that's about it. Otherwise, you just gotta let you gotta call Logan and be like, "Oh, Logan, come please vacuum this up for me."
But it's a strong advantage, and it's a strong team. I think it's the safest thing to do for them.
Well, now we do have our next player coming. Excuse me, our next organization coming in. We have Party Foul from Simplicity. Welcome in, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Are you excited to let us know who is going to be your pickup for Heroes CCL Season 2?
I'm very excited. For this season, we've decided to pick up Yitzo. Wait a minute. I'm getting a transmission. Oh, I'm sorry. I got that backwards. We're picking Hosty back up.
Okay. All right. The orgs today. Wow. All right.
So, huh?
I am blown away by the pickup of Hosty here. I kind of want to ask you a little bit of the same question as we asked Wildheart just now. Is it because of the inherent synergy from season 1? Is it because you want to get the gang back together? What's the game plan for picking up Hosty here?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We had a lot of fun, with the team. As you know, we picked up Masquerade and Legacy kind of towards the later half. So we, only had, that initial roster for a little bit of the season, and we, had a lot of success with it. The guys actually had a lot of fun together, and we really want to bring that over into season 2. So picking Hosty back up, we get that synergy back, but we also just get that really positive team environment that we had back. And, having these guys have a lot of fun playing together is just going to be really great going into the second season.
Yeah. McIntyre, do you have any questions for Party Foul as we have that Hosty pickup for Simplicity?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Hosty. He's a Nazebo player at heart. I know you guys maybe won't allow it,
we'll see.
But I know he secretly loves it. Would you, now that Hosty is on the team, would you ever allow him to A, play Nazebo, and B, play Asmodan? Because Asmodan, I know right now he's definitely the people's champ. Is that something that you would maybe draft Hosty for? Is that Nazebo game?
I think it's something we can definitely consider. We might have to throw some Soul Jins in there as well. Maybe not too high on the priority list, but definitely could give him some Nazebo in there and some Asmodan. I think we can make that happen.
Well, we'll find out if Simplicity is going to give access to the rest of the CCL rosters this season, or if they're just going to continue to play a lot of Medivh here. But thank you for joining us, Party Foul, and we'll see you further along in the draft day. Alrighty, that's round 1. That's round 1 of our draft day, and there was a lot of really good pickups already. I mean, just kind of recapping this really quickly. We've had Bad Benny, Lauber. We actually had a trade from 30K. I'm just looking through this list right now. Anything that's surprising, exciting for you, Grubby, or even McIntyre as well?
There's just so many good players left. We're about 1/3 of the way through when you consider the final rounds where just the empty teams have to get their final pickups. There's so many good players left. I wonder whether any players that are watching this right now are getting nervous at this moment, or perhaps not yet. Maybe most of this was as expected. Maybe a few surprises here and there, but it's gonna get more and more exciting. Any hopefuls from Storm League into pro play? With those kind of dreams, this is where it's going to go down in round 2. That's about to come up.
Definitely got to say that Hosty pickup, I am blown away by. I wasn't expecting that one. McIntyre.
Really?
Yeah, no, totally, absolutely. No cap.
I think
McIntyre thoughts.
The thing that really kind of changed the, how the draft went in my mind was the 30K trade. Just like looking at it now here as we look at this list, they've had priority on 2 very strong picks. Obviously getting rid of BBJ for one of those, but just how that's changed the flow of the draft going into round number 2. And like Grubby just said, I mean, so many good players left. I will say that I think we will kind of start to step into the off-lane battle. There are a lot of teams that still need to draft off-laners. We'll probably start to see that here in round 2, as well as kind of filling out those flex and range slots. So lots of fun picks ahead of us, but yeah, I don't know. It was a great round 1, and I think so many rosters are just so set already with the picks that they're made.
I think just really quickly, I've really liked the X-Ray pickup for 30K. I think Michael et al. Made a really good point about the level of energy in their comms, and that's going to be an exciting factor in my consideration just from the round number 1. Moving into our round number 2, though, we're ready to go into another pickup, and we are going to welcome back Chris from Onyx. Welcome back, my friend.
Hello,
I do gotta say, out of all of the organizations, I you know what, credit where credit's due, you've dressed up the best today. I really gotta say, like,
I'm here to shine, my friend. And this is not because of Goon's diamond hands he has shown previously.
Okay. Well, now we are in our second round here. Let's find out what is Onyx going to be picking up for, I believe, their third pickup of our CCL draft.
Great. So you guys are actually really on point. So the offline battle will start right immediately here, and this is also why I have like this little gem with me, because the one we're picking is a true gem, what I believe, and he's one of your local men, Grubby. So we're going with Uki.
Hey! The little man finds a home, apparently.
Yes,
Grubby, I'm going to give this right over to you because, Chris, if you didn't know this, Uki was actually Grubby's first or one of Grubby's first moderators he was telling us earlier today.
Yeah, I didn't know that, no.
He seems to have such a calm, reasonable, measured approach to everything. Serious, but still relaxed. Just he seems really mature. I don't know actually how old he is, but I always felt he was quite mature, for a Hearts player.
Indeed, yeah, he looks quite young, but he's old enough to study. So this is what he's doing. At least that's what he told me.
But he said he's gonna stream 1 day a week now, isn't he? He said if he gets picked up,
we will make sure that happens.
Oh, congrats.
That's an exciting pickup, though. What was kind of, just out of curiosity for myself, what was kind of the big thing that set Uki aside in the solo lane when you were considering this role?
So actually, I really need to say, next to, he's a great guy. Like I said before, this is really important to me. He's one. He followed up. He was writing me persistent messages, checking what should he prove, what should he show, how can he prove himself to be worth. He participated in like all CCL in-houses we've done, so this was very important for me to evaluate. And he just proved that he fits into CCL, and he's a great player now, and even a better coming. And what maybe some people don't know, he switched to offlane like I think not too long ago. So he's doing really good with the short amount of experience he's having, and this is something what I love. This is a great story I want to support, and I really believe that he can live up to standards.
I look forward to seeing the story as the season progresses. Thank you for joining us for this offlane pickup, Chris from Onyx. We'll see you a little bit later for another pickup from your organization.
See you later, guys.
So we have the little man joining Onyx. I all season that's going to be it's just kind of perfect because that's what it translates to. And I mean that is his name. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of perfect though that like McIntyre we kind of be like, ooh, when does the offlane battle start? And Chris rolls in just like it's right now. We're gonna get right into this, and that's so cool. I love offlane prowess. And they have shown, as Chris mentioned beforehand, a lot of different heroes. I didn't know that they had just started, or he had just started working in the offlane. I didn't know that this was Uki's role for the longest time.
Yeah, so his reach here would probably be, he's halfway to the top. How much more room does he have to improve? And obviously he watches Grubby stream. There's so many lessons to be learned there. I'm sure he's already got a great head start. How do you feel about him, Grubby?
I don't know how I feel about what you just said, but well, he plays Sonya, he plays Hager, so his meta picks are in the right place. But as an offlane, you need to be able to win those duels and to join the team during the right moment. It has shown in history that offlane is also important to have really good map awareness. You need to see the minimap. You need to help a little bit with shot calling. So that exact dynamic, hopefully we'll see a lot more when we hopefully are able to jump into comms once the main season begins and we can see how all that goes. But offlane, it's a big responsibility. Do you win those duels? How are your mechanics? And yeah, just the whole gameplay has to be good. So a lot of faith here in Aki. He mentioned that growth is still to be expected as well, the diamond in the rough. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm excited to see how all of that roster kind of formulates through the season as well. Now we have our next roster coming in here. Our next organization coming in here. We have Alcove back from Storm Esports. Welcome in, my friend. Are you ready to give us another pick for the HeroesCCL Draft Day?
Thanks, guys. Yeah. So going into this next round, we are going to be looking to lock in IB teams.
Okay, you're going to be grabbing, I believe it is a flex player IB things here. What's the priority for Storm Esports? Is it just their literal flex knowledge, their experience within Heroes of the Storm? I'm curious to dive into your brain and find out exactly why you were prioritizing this player.
Yeah, I think it's when it comes down to it, it's just looking for people that we are going to feel comfortable with following up our comp and being able to put out the damage that we need. So, I mean, it's quite literally all just about that. It's looking like a good pickup and feeling really comfortable with it.
I believe this is a player that McIntyre might have met once or twice on the battlefield. Mac, do you have any questions for Storm Esports here?
You know, I think it's interesting with him. Is it ever a concern with IB Tings? He doesn't, while he's been playing a lot and he is definitely a very strong player, he has never really shown, until the free agent tournament at least, his kind of in-game prowess. Is that a concern for you guys, or are you excited about the fact that, you know, he has this chance to show himself off here and with a roster that you guys have already built, Lauber and BBJ? I mean, is that something you're excited about?
Yeah, I think it's the latter on that one. So we feel that he's a really just a pickup that we're going to be able to bring into the roster and grow under like people like Lauber and BBJ, for example, and really just step up and make that impact in the games that we need him to do. So yeah, I mean, that's the thought process, really. It's not too complex, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I'm excited to see how this prowess really starts to form throughout the season for Storm Esports, and we'll see you a little bit later for another draft pick. Thanks for joining us, Alco.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
So IB Tings for Storm Esports, and I'm just curious, like, does BBJ have any past experience with IB Tings or even Lauber? I don't know off the top of my head. Mac, do you know?
You know, not, you know, at one point in time, maybe we had played with Tings back in the day. He's a very good flex player. To put some context on that, there were times where Tings had played with us and he was the one playing Desertal. So that just can kind of put perspective on how good that player really can be. So I'm really excited about that. And I also really want to highlight Storm is kind of playing to their 2 first pick choices, allowing maybe BBJ's influence or Lauber's influence on IB Tings, because I know both of those players do really like playing with him as well. So I think this is a great just draft strategy in general to draft around the players that you already have and continue to build that full roster, especially for Storm coming in drafting an entirely new team.
We've heard from a lot of the organizations that they do want to bring the players in as they're drafting them today to help build out these teams and kind of get that influence from, the roster they're building. Grubby, do you see any sort of synergies here that we might be missing, or is there anything that you're just really excited about so far from the draft day?
Oh, well, I am wondering as well. I was wondering the same thing as you just brought up. Are they all in a room together now in a voice chat discussing their next picks? And just what I would give to see everyone's graph of possible possibilities, you know, like with red markers, like this one is not available. How many options did they consider? Because they're not getting a lot of time to decide what is going to be extremely impactful for the next 12 to 15 weeks as our season plays out. So that is very interesting to me into these picks.
It's been interesting so far throughout today, and we're going to bring back Sid Kitten from Chili Mountain, find out what Chili Mountain's going to be picking up here next. Welcome back, Sid. How are you doing? And how are you, like, let me just kind of check in on you. How are you liking some of these pickups from the other organizations? Are they stealing things away from Chili Mountain?
There's definitely some really high pickups there that were high on our list. So we're keeping an eye on that and moving around some sticky notes and, you know, that type of thing. So yeah, very high intensity in that Discord chat.
Let's find out, though, who is going to be on the next sticky note for Chili Mountain, Sid?
Yeah, so we are really excited to pick up Azurite.
Ooh, Azurite. Now, wasn't this Grubby? Didn't you mention earlier today, like, #1 GM in EU or something like that?
Well, yeah, was for a bit, right? And so, at which point did you realize that you would like to pick Azurite? Are we talking seconds ago, minutes ago? You've known this for a long time. When did he catch your eye?
So he's been on our list for a long time. He's been playing on another team for us in another league. So he's been vibing with the team really well.
Okay.
So we really had our hearts set on Azrai, and we were glad he was still available to get picked up.
Nice.
That's such a cool pickup. It's interesting that Chili Mountain to me has been practicing for a long time, maybe in the shadows, I guess, with some of these players and kind of already building that synergy, building that cooperativeness that these players kind of need for Heroes of the Storm. McIntyre, your thoughts on this Azurite pickup or a question maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say I think it's a great pick too. And Sid, I know that you highlighted like a high mechanical player, similar to Banana. Even now, you have so much talent on your team. Do you think you already have an established leader? Is Azurite coming in to kind of fill in a slot that the team needs, or is he coming in as like a leader or maybe even a drafter? Where does he work in your team's dynamic?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, everyone on our team has really strong personalities, and we wanted to make sure that whoever we brought on vibed well with our team. So he really does get along really well with everybody, and like I said, we've also been playing as a team for a while now, so we kind of know everyone's personalities. And he really complements Make's role, who is our shot caller at the moment. So we wanted to make sure it was somebody who would vibe, and it's been going really well. So that was really a top priority for us.
Really good priorities, and thanks for the insight into the pick so far. We'll see you a little bit later, Sid, for I believe your final pick. Good luck.
Thanks, Baha.
So as of right now, for the side of Chili Mountain, I'm just like I keep like having to like look back at this and think about it because there's just so many big names that we keep seeing here. And Grubby mentioned earlier, there's been 150 free agents out there, and we're really starting to get to the latter half of this of the draft day. And I wonder if some of those solo laners, some of those support players, maybe even main tanks might be sweating a little bit that they might not get picked up today. It's
definitely
it's getting tight here, Mac.
Yeah, and it's weird because with Chili Mountain especially, they were looking for, I think, an offlaner. So to take Azure here is kind of saying that maybe that is going to be their last pick, or a player that they've already drafted to play offlane for them. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds here into the next round. But I will say that, yeah, the door is definitely closing, right? The light that is peering through is half what it once was, but there is still light. There is still a chance to fit through the crack. And I know a lot of players, while the rosters are coming together for most of these orgs, there are still slots, and there are still, definitely places to be fitted into, depending on what you can bring to the table. So I wouldn't count anyone out yet. It's not back's not to the wall so far. So, but I'm excited for the rest of the day for sure.
I've been enjoying this so far. I want to kind of get your thoughts as well, Grubby. How are you liking the picks? Is anything kind of catching you off guard, or anything just like, oh, I'm excited to see them in the season?
Well, first of all, we don't see that many offlanes being picked up, right? Like, I was very impressed in season 1 by Nintori and by Dequasa. They have not been picked up yet. We do know that some of the teams still need an offlane, but they haven't gone with that move yet. So I think that stands out a little bit. And then just the distance between the two tanks, Lauber and Bad Penny, and then no one else being picked yet. They were so important. No one else yet. Of course, some of the teams still maintained their tanks from season 1. But these are just some interesting developments to look at. I do believe we're ready soon for our next pick, right?
You're absolutely right, Grubby. We've got Kim from Granite Gaming back once again. And Kim, how you doing? Are you enjoying the draft show so far?
Yes, I actually am. I'm a little bit tired, but
well, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. I'm assuming it's quite late for you all as well. So I don't want to keep you too long. Then let's find out who Granite's going to be picking up their second pick in the CCL draft.
Our second pick will be Skoog.
Ooh, Skoog coming in. If memory serves me correct, Skoog is a tank player that had a lot of prowess last season. Is last season's skill set something that Granite was considering, or is it just the overall player knowledge skill throughout from Skoog that caught Granite's eye?
I would say it's like overall, he played for us before, so we know what he's like capable of. I would say. And I think he have a really good level, like on each. He can fill roles in a good way.
Okay. Mac, any questions? Oh no, Grubby, go ahead, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
What role is he going to be playing on your team?
Yeah. Pardon?
What role is Skog going to be playing on your team? Do you know?
For at the moment, I think it will go tank or off tank, but we'll see.
Okay.
Depending on the draft or the players we get.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that is definitely a cool highlight too. That we now have you've drafted a player here, Kim, that is flexible. I'm sure that's great, kind of going forward, depending on what picks you are able to get in the future. So I think that's a really cool highlight, and I'm sure previous experience with him as well is probably a great thing. Has he had any contact with Ultralisk? Is that a natural synergy that you're kind of building here for the rest of the team?
Yeah, in some sort of way, yes, but yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, little synergy already being built here for Granite Gaming. Thanks so much, Kim, for swinging by for your second pick in the CCL draft, and we'll see you a little bit later for more draft picks from Granite.
See you later.
See you soon. Alrighty, Granite's actually building a fairly strong roster, but honestly, memory slipped me right there. Skoog did play for Granite last season, so kind of getting back that anchor, that main tank, off tank, as Kim was just saying, is already a strong way to have synergy built through the organization itself and the player. That communication level's already established. There's already kind of the expectations from Skoog. And I think that's a nice synergy with even just the organization. But as you mentioned, McIntyre, Ultralisk for this team as well. These are some strong players for Granite so far.
Definitely. And again, that flexibility. Grubby was just talking about it. We're really highlighting off lanes. So the fact that he may fit into that off lane slot for them, like, what does that open up? I think that's a really, really kind of unique take on it as well. How do you feel about it, Grubby?
Well, why pick up someone that you had on your previous roster after throwing out the whole roster? Because now you don't get to pick other players as much. There was a kind of stringent demand of how many players you could protect. It was like you can protect 4 or 3 or 1, was it?
It was 2, 3, or none, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that's why Chili Mountain released 3 and protected 3, and most of the other organizations released 2, protected 4, and Granite was the only organization to release all 6 of their players.
So they couldn't just protect 1.
Correct.
Which means that had they wanted to only protect Skog, they couldn't. So that means they wanted to release everyone else.
Yep.
Yeah,
build the team from ground up again. It seems like that's what Granite wants to do, regardless of whether or not there was already that player on the team. It's an interesting tactic, definitely, Grubby.
Yeah. Very, very different. So cool to see that they liked him that much to still bring him back in at such a high priority.
Speaking of bringing people back in, we can actually have Mike Udall join us once again, and we can start kind of wrapping up some of these rosters for these organizations. We are actually going to get into 30K's last pick for the Season 2 draft day of HeroesCCL. Mike, welcome back. We're excited to have you here, my friend.
Yeah, so with our last pick in the draft, we're going to be picking up Yasu, and X-Ray is going to be moving into the tank role, and Fury is going to be moving to the bench. So, I'm really excited to have Yasu join the ranks. The best, a really killer Lucio player. So excited.
The Monka Steer. I'm expecting that. I don't have chat open, but I'm praying that all of chat is just Monka Steer right now. But I want to actually throw this over to Grubby. Do you have any questions for 30K on this?
Yeah. What are your plans for Fury? Is it going to be a schedule replacement sometimes? Why bench? I mean, you have to bench someone, sometimes people are like, hey, what about this tier list? And you make a tier list and the people are like, why is this hero at the bottom? I'm like, hey, he's still good, but he's worse than everyone else. What's the idea here?
We'll see what ends up happening when the season starts.
Wow.
For transparency, we kind of had the off season. We had some scrims this week. Things didn't go excellent, so we're looking to really just solidify the roster. So we'll see what ends up happening after the draft, because that also kind of depends. But and I've had conversations with Fury as well. I've had conversations with all the players this week. I want people to know that the players are not blindsided by these drafts. It is something that we can't 100% confirm till draft day, but it's they have a rough understanding of what may happen. So yeah.
Well, he's a very powerful sixth. Also looking forward to seeing X-Ray on that tank role. Must be fun for a player to switch from support to tank. Just a completely different experience, potentially a very motivating experience.
Yep, and we can see here too, like the full roster now of 30K with the addition of Yasu, Dino, and X-Ray. I mean, this team looks pretty insane on paper, Michael. How jazzed are you? Is there?
We did it again! I got another day, baby.
Is the script? How does Jules keep letting you get away with this? No, but seriously, I mean, an incredible roster for sure. What's the most excited thing you are about this roster? If you had one thing.
I mean, I think we're gonna have a very strong identity, right? I think in season 1 we had some very, very good players, really talented players, but I think the team didn't have a strong identity. So, and that was my fault, right? That's something that me as, the GM that kind of selected all the players, I picked good players, but I didn't pick players that necessarily meshed well. So I think that, going into season 2, that's something I was really conscious of. And I mean, if you look at X-Ray, Yasu, Dino, and Hasu, they've all have a lot of experience playing together. Liam has, a season under the belt playing with Hasu as well, someone that, we are really impressed with. So I am really excited about the future of season 2, Here's the Storm for 30K. And the day that we get to lands, my EU boys, they coming for you. We don't have to deal with this ping advantage anymore. They coming for you. So I'm excited to see Dino Zera eventually on land. And
Mike, I look forward to the day of lands myself, and I look forward to seeing those 0 ping Zera tools for 30K. Until then, congratulations on your roster that you've built today. It looks really great, and it sounds like you've got everything you've wanted out of the draft day today. We look forward to seeing 30K's roster perform in the upcoming season. You have a wonderful afternoon, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for having me. And for all the viewers, hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to support 30K, definitely check out our socials. And we're going to have merch drop in the end of May. So thank you guys all for letting us come on. And so this purple hoodie will be available. We'll have some other stuff as well. So excited for it.
There you go. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thanks.
So I gotta say, let me just get your impressions here. Grubby, X-Ray, moving from support to main tank, that's a big jump in playstyle. Hero pool, obviously, but I mean, the energy and the hype that we talked about with X-Ray, that's all there. Do you think this is a difficult transition, or do you think this is going to be an easy kind of cakewalk for X-Ray?
I think it's not going to be a difficult transition for him. There will be things that he has to learn. He's probably been working on that. He's been streaming and playing a lot. I have seen him on that tank role, so I'm not 100% surprised by this. Okay. But I don't think it will be that difficult because it really fits his personality. First into the breach is what a tank does. He's loud. He's not loud like obnoxious, but he's vocal. He's vocal. Yeah. And I think it's a very cool role for him. And like I said, very motivating. You look at some of the ex-HCC players that may not be playing now anymore. I heard Smexy at some point, he was like, he's so sick of playing Malfurion because they always made him play Malfurion, So actually switching role and contending with a whole new roster of different heroes is very motivating. The level's already there. Now let's go with the experience in that role. I think it's a really fun move.
I'm looking forward to, as you were saying earlier, I sleep, but looking forward to hearing I bless. So there's going to be probably the same kind of communication level out from X-Ray going into the season. But this 30K roster, it based on the energy that we saw from Michael Udall, I think Mike got everything he wanted here. Mac, you were kind of saying that he kind of read the script and got everything. Do you think that so far, I mean, we haven't seen all the rosters, but do you think 30K kind of coming out on top a little bit with this?
I mean, it's a great draft for sure. And I think one thing that he isolated was that his team needed an identity, and he has done a great job here today in creating that. And hopefully we'll see as the season kind of pans out if that identity sticks together, if it holds. But I think from a just kind of brewing it up in your head point of view, I think it's a great roster. So
I think, there's a lot of ins and outs that I'm excited to see from them, specifically just that X-ray swapping role. That's going to be a big storyline that I'm excited to watch progress throughout season 2 of CCL. I'm not sure if we have them ready to go, but I believe we are. Okay, no, not just yet. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun. I want to find out what we're going to get for our next picks here, but we can actually.
What could it be, dude? What could it be? Oxygen, right? They're going to be up next.
Yes.
What's that last pick for them? They just drafted, traded. He's this kind of flex player. I know their core was already really strong. Probably looking for another flex player or some sort of sub that fills a role that, maybe it's something they bring in once in a while, right? A Vikings player. I know Jay I highlighted him before when we were talking about players. Do you think that they go that route? Like Grubby, where would you go if you kind of had a full team already built as a sixth player?
My theory craft won't be necessary. I believe we do have already the Steve coming on here, and he will let us know how it's actually at. Many directions to go, but we'll hear from Steve himself.
Welcome,
Many
Ed.
directions indeed.
Yeah,
Many directions indeed.
We're sitting here theory crafting. Is it going to be flex? Is it going to be solo lane? Are you going to pick up just another healer? What's the game plan for Oxygen to kind of close out and wrap up your roster for season 2 of CCL?
Well, before we get into the pick, I actually have a little bit of spice I need to tell you guys about.
Okay.
So we as an org actually have a bet with somebody who works at another organization that if we win with Lily, they get a tattoo of the Oxygen logo on their body.
I know what's happening already.
So we're thinking, who can help us get that Lily win? So we pick Hebby to help us get that win.
Whoa! Okay, not what I was expecting. I thought you were gonna get funds and you were gonna get some juice boxes for Oxygen, but this is a Hebby pickup.
Is Hebby
I gotta know
the all-star that is going to push for a tattoo for another organization?
We believe so. In the tryouts, we had him play as a healer. We saw the potential, so we had to pick him up.
But how do you know that he can play Lily well as well? Like, you can play the healer role, the support, fine, you have experience, but Lily is a demanding character.
That's true. We believe that we have the support. With coaching and all the other players, we believe that we can give him the proper support to get that job done. And it's more that he's willing to actually, practice Lily to get it done. And we'll just have to see what happens. But we're hoping.
Steve, I want to ask you a really quick question here, just because we're looking at the roster right now on screen. Last season, Cascon didn't play a lot. Their role in Oxygen, from my understanding, was a lot more draft heavy and draft knowledge and kind of prep in that direction. Is Hebby going to be the main support for your organization, or you're going to be having the swap of Cascon and Hebby throughout the season? I'm interested.
So with Cascon, we were able to fill him in when we really need him. He was able to pull out. He has 100% win rate in CCL. Let's not forget. But Hebby will be our main healer in season 2. We feel like we have a great support team with the both of them, and we just want to keep it that way.
I'm excited to see Hebby hoot throughout the season. Grubby, do you have any questions for Steve from Oxygen about any of their draft or even what's been built here?
Well, you had a very strong start in season 1 with the 4-0 score, and then after that it was still good. You didn't quite make it all the way. What are you targeting here? Strong start, strong finish, and are you looking to work on the long term, or you want to start strong?
So I think that our approach for season 2 is, we're not going to take anyone for granted. We're going to approach every single series as a one team series. Our goal is top 3. If we make it there, that's great. But ultimately, it's getting the top 3, top 4 to playoffs, and then just going farther in playoffs. That's when things really matter.
I like the insight. Mac, did you have any questions for Steve as well, as we're kind of finding out a little bit more and more about this full roster for season 2?
I would say that we were just saying with Draded, kind of his pop off kind of energy. Do you think Hebby is going to bring that same sort of energy? Is it a hero pool? Is it a kind of comms energy that he brings? Or, is there something that really puts him ahead of the other support choices here?
So we're a really big communication team. We communicate in a very different style than all the other teams. So it's more that he's willing to fit that style. That's probably the main reason why we picked him up. We're just hoping it goes well.
It seems like your draft day went really well, Steve. You're all smiles right now. It doesn't seem like you missed anything or you got anything stolen away from you. So congratulations on your roster pickup right there with Hebby and Draded. And we look forward to seeing you in season 2 of HeroesCCL and how your team fares for that potential top 3 slot.
Cool. Thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you so much. This is, I really got to say, as we're getting these rosters in, there's no surprise that I'm surprised by everything, but I really do love the fact that we are seeing someone like Hebi, a big community member. They didn't actually get to play. I think Hebi got to play one game last season as well through crowd control. So this is an opportunity to have that starting slot. And I casted a little ARAM event last night, and I got to see Hebi go up against a double support composition and have just a little less healing than a double support composition. Grant, it is ARAM and all that kind of stuff, but like, this is a strong player, and I'm excited to see what Hebi's able to do in Season 2 as that main healer role for Oxygen. That's the big storyline. I'm excited for that team going into the season. Anything for you, Grubby?
Well, Cascon will be waiting in the woodworks again when people least expect him. Like you said, 100% win rate. And the slowly unveiled secret that he was behind the drafts of Oxygen that were really good, great macro drafts. I mean, this is a team you want to look at for decision making on a macro scale. But even when it came down to the team fights, Oxygen was there every time. And Cascon was behind a lot of the drafting, which was really good. Well, let's see. There's always a lot of homework to do going into the next season. He will have that freedom to think about this from one step further away, as Cascon will not be in the main roster, but he can still jump in when necessary, when life catches up with someone's schedule or whatever.
I honestly think that Oxygen was one of the kind of meta developers throughout the season. I bring this up consistently, but like Monstrosity Abathur was not a consideration until Oxygen was running it. If I'm not mistaken, Oxygen was also the team to run Mind Control Sylvanas, and we see it in our Storm League games as a a top tier pick as a Sylvanas player. Like, it's a lot of these adaptations coming out from Oxygen that I'm extremely excited to see for the season. As you mentioned, Grubby, the drafting is just top tier, specifically through Cascon as well as Oxygen itself. As we're waiting to get into our next team here, McIntyre, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this draft as well. Do you think Oxygen won out, or do you think they got everything they wanted in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that both of you highlighted a great thing here, that this team is flexible. They have now drafted 2 players here, Draded and Hebi, both incredibly flexible and innovating on metas. I mean, I really look forward to the Lily support with Dragon. So this may be a new thing that they play. We'll see, but great roster there from Oxygen. Really excited.
It's an exciting roster. And speaking of excitement, we've got Goon back from Wildheart. Goon, welcome back in. We're ecstatic to find out what the last pick for Wildheart will be going into Season 2 of HeroesCCL.
My bad. I was flaming Gauntlet Gunner in chat about
that happens. I get you.
Our last pick here is a very strong player, has shown a lot of their skill in the past and also in recent memory as well. A lot of room for development, a high skill ceiling, and potentially going to be one of the biggest names, I think, for the future of Heroes of the Storm. We're going to go with Mason Blaze.
Whoa, Mason Blaze. So actually, we have not the pickup back into funds, Mason Blaze. Goon, I got to say, was it the Lucio play from the free agent tournament that was just absolutely insane, or was it much more than just that? And also, just secondary question on top of that, what role do you have Mason Blaze playing for you? Because he's listed as a range assassin, but he's playing support all in a tournament.
Mason Blaze is just that good. He's just good at everything that he touches. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right, in depth as well, and we can look at the roster right now for Wildheart. As I'm going to throw it over to Grubby. You have any questions for Goon for either the roster or this pickup onto Mason Blaze?
We already have a somewhat cryptic, just wait and see it, just watch us in the CCL, we'll wait and see. That's all I'm going to say about it. But do you have a clear sub here, or are all 6 up in the running for the main lineup?
All 6 will play.
Sick.
Okay. McIntyre, any questions for Goon for Wildheart Esports about their roster or this pickup onto Mason Blaze?
You know, I think kind of exciting to hear that all 6 will play. I would love to, and I'm sure, Goon, this is something you've considered. You know, is Mason as a sub this season, because of his flexibility, he can do it all? Is that something that you're going to introduce, as it is a rule here in CCL that you can sub players in and out on different maps? Is that something you've considered when kind of drafting Mason Blaze here today?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, as many of you know, our draft style is very spicy, unique.
Yes.
And being able to have a player that can fill that spot for us in a very impactful way is super important, and it's going to be vital to our success for this season.
I've got one more question for you, Goon, as we're going to wrap up this interview, and
Sure.
we've seen your entire roster. Going through today's draft, and I've been kind of asking all the orgs about this as well, did you win in a sense? Did you get everything you want? Did someone steal away a pick from you at any point during today?
Yeah, Simplicity stole Hosey from me. Unlucky.
Wow. Mind blowing on that one there, Goon.
we got everything that we wanted.
Okay. All right. That's really interesting. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing how your roster plays in Season 2 of HeroesCCL, and good luck out there.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, interesting enough. I got to say, I wasn't expecting Mason Blaze. Like, Mason Blaze is an insanely strong player, and I've highlighted them a lot myself on my streams, even just in conversations with you two as well. I think he's one of those kind of players that's not snuck in, but has been undervalued, and Wildheart giving them the opportunity to showcase their skills. This is really exciting for just kind of how I was mentioning Hebby, a community member to really rise up and get that amplified help and growth through a roster like Wildheart. This is really, really exciting. I don't know, Grubby, what are your thoughts of this Wildheart roster as we kind of bid adieu to Goon right there?
Yeah, it's the first clear statement that all 6 will play. Of course, we don't know exactly in which capacity because, like I said, Goon's cryptic smile doesn't unveil much. Just like Wildheart always has something planned for us. Now that may be the case as well. So exciting stuff. Gonna have to tune in into the main season.
We continue the excitement with Simplicity. We have Partyfile joining us for their last pick of the HeroesCCL Season 2 draft day. Partyfile, how are you? Actually, let me check in with you. How are you feeling about all this? Are you excited? Have you gotten everything you've wanted so far?
It's been fun so far. It's been great to see a lot of the players being picked up, and I've been enjoying it. So.
Very good. Well, let's find out what is going to be Simplicity's final pick for Season 2 of HeroesCCL.
All right, we'll be picking up funds.
Really? Okay. So is it a steal from Wildheart? I know they just took someone else, but I mean, what was the priority for funds here?
Funds. So we are just trying to round out for Season 1. Basically we went for that DPS to kind of fill out that sub spot, just because we're able to get the flex. They can usually play many different roles as well. And we really think it will just round out our roster the best right now. So we're looking to go that route, and we're excited to have him join us.
Grubby, do you have any questions for Partyfile for the roster or the pickup onto funds here?
Were there any other considerations you had that maybe got picked up already? And also, among the players not picked, was there anyone that made this decision close for you?
Not so much of not picked, but one that we were kind of looking at beforehand, someone who kind of played with us a little bit in Season 1 when we needed a sub, was Ivy. So he got picked up earlier, which we're really glad. We think he's a really good player, and that was someone we were kind of considering for our 6th slot, that DPS slot as well. So, funds fills the role that we need.
Yeah, great pickup. Congrats.
McIntyre, any questions for Partyfile?
Yeah, I would say, we just heard from Wildheart, really introducing that 6th player to the roster, the flexibility of having it. Is Funds a player that Simplicity will utilize, or is he one that you maybe keep on the bench to learn, to kind of take in the knowledge that the team already has, that champion mindset, and then eventually bring him into that main roster?
I think it depends. So last season, we utilized our 6th player for a couple of different reasons. First off, with Noah, making sure that we filled the slot that we needed when someone was away, prior knowledge I had for that. And then, of course, later we ended up picking up Legacy, who ended up, transitioning to our main roster when we needed someone to kind of fill in that healer role when we were having, a little bit of time issues. So we definitely like to utilize the 6-person slot for whatever reason, whether it be to get more scrims or, they may need to play depending on circumstances that may arise. So that's what we're going to be looking for this season.
Definitely.
An exciting draft from Simplicity. I look forward to seeing your team as well in this season 2 of HeroesCCL. And you have a wonderful afternoon, Party Foul, and congratulations on your draft picks.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are through quite a few of these rosters. I gotta be honest here, Mac. Like looking at what's been drafted so far, who do you think's kind of winning out per se? Like I just kind of maybe like a little bit of just like a gut check on this. Like
it's hard to say, you know. I will say with Simplicity, they are a team that just came off of a win. They've now picked up 2 incredibly strong players, one being Hosty, who was on the team in the previous season, and now the introduction of Funds and his mom's Capri Suns. So, you know, maybe they'll just dominate because of that. But, you know, we do have someone like 30K just changing up the whole recipe. Instead of chocolate chips, we're using oatmeals. You know, what happens? Yeah. For some, they like that.
I mean, that's fair.
That's fair. But for others, not so much. I don't know. So far, all the teams that have finished here roster-wise look insane. The power level is kind of off the charts.
Over 9,000 at least?
You know, I didn't want to say it, but it's close. Definitely.
Someone had to. Grubby, I want to
scouters aren't here for sure.
I want to get your thoughts as well as we're kind of getting through a lot of these rosters that have been built. Is there anything that stands out to you? Like that's a roster that I'm excited to cast, or are you still just kind of sitting here waiting, just being like, well, I want to see how Storm finishes out? Because that's at least where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, there's 3 teams that are looking very strong to me now, and they all do. I'm looking at 30K. I'm looking at how Storm Esports is developing, and of course Simplicity. They got the old gang back together. They're the number one. Yeah, they're season 1 winners, Simplicity, and they pretty much have the same roster back for the most part. Storm Esports has gotten off to a great start with Lauber, with BBJ, and with Ivy Tings, and then 30K. Oh, God, X-Ray and Yazoo added to the players that they already had. But you know, the initial view of which teams are strong didn't necessarily turn out to be 100% accurate in season 1, so we really don't know, but there's a lot of exciting rosters developing here so far.
A lot of excitement today as well, Grubby. I absolutely agree, and I don't know who's kind of winning out so far. We'll have to figure that out in the latter half of the show, as we're going to take a little break right now. We're going to get ourselves a little bit of water, let these organizations have a few minutes to scratch off a few of those sticky notes that might have been drafted out ahead of time, and we'll be back in just a few moments with more HeroesCCL Season 2 Draft Day. Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and Murlocs to the HeroesCCL Draft Day for Season 2. I'm still Bahamut, joined by Grubby and McIntyre, and we have had some awesome drafts so far. So while we're kind of, coming back into all this, let's kind of recap a little bit, and I want to pick both of your brains. What's been the standout pickup? I know we've kind of jumped on this a little bit, but like so far we've had a lot of amazing picks. What's the one player you're just like, that was smart. That was super, super smart from that organization. I want to start with Mac.
I think for me, one of the biggest, most surprising choices that have happened so far was actually the Got Filth at number 4. I thought he would go a little earlier as just his leadership. He's really filled that role. That was a big surprise to me. I'd say the other one that was surprising, but I think had a really good description behind it was I'm not going to pronounce it. Grubby, I'll allow you to pronounce his name as a moderator in your chat for
Uki.
Onyx. Yes, Uki. He being a new kind of offlane player, I continue to harp on the offlane choices of these team. He was one that was picked early in round 2. And to kind of highlight that, he is such a high desired player that he was chosen before any other real offlaner choice.
Yeah, Mac, can I help put that in perspective for the viewers a little bit? The offlane role that we have here, where Uki was picked, pretty much one of the first, Uki would have had to contend with being picked with players like Dequaza, Nintori, Svampgrota, Copenhagen, and Darkmark. There's ex-HCC players, there's ex-CCL players, and Uki got picked over that. So that is a pretty big move by Onyx.
I absolutely agree with you here, Grubby. That was, if you didn't cover this was going to be mine as well, because it's insane. Like, even the Thanatos was an insanely just... It was outrageous what they were able to do in the free agent tournament in the solo lanes. So definitely Uki here has proven to many of the organizations that they're a top priority. I think the big thing that still stands out to me is that round number 3 where you have Storm Esports taking BBJ from 30K, so 30K can have that slot, and 30K taking X-Ray, not as a healer, no, as a main tank for their team. That right there, like that, it's just layers of like 6D chess at that point. Like, I think somehow Michael Udall is just 200 IQing above all of the organizations. And I think that's been the big standout for me, is the way that 30K drafted once again for the CCL. Because if we remember back to season 1, 30K had some of these crazy, I'll trade this spot for a pick or two. Yeah. And they really came out on top. Like, we talked to Michael Udall, and he's just like, I got everything I wanted. We heard the energy levels of this past interview where he's literally like, I got merch, I got the team, we're ready to go. Like, it's exciting for 30K. But to also highlight, I do think that Wildheart had a strong draft, and I think that Simplicity and Oxygen really have some core amazing heroes. Grubby, just to kind of pick your brain a little further, was there anything else that kind of popped out to you here?
Well, I'm also thinking, like, what would it be like to play a board game with Michael Udall? I hope that opportunity comes along once, where, especially one of those open-ended board games where you're allowed to trade, but most people don't do it because it always leads to like complicated scenarios, and you have to step away and like talk a bit. And I bet he'd be good at those.
So when we have, whenever we have the HeroesCCL LAN party, I should bring Monopoly, is what you're saying, and then we'll have the orgs and the casters play Monopoly. Yeah. Is that it? Yeah, because that seems like a nice game for all of us. We won't get mad at each other.
I'll bring my version. I have the Monopoly Mega Edition, we just got it. You can have like bus tickets and stuff. Been playing it a bit, in this crazy year where you have a lot of time at home. I've been playing Monopoly. It's so good, best game ever. After HOTS.
Exactly, after HOTS. I mean, it is. I can't wait for the Wisdom Monopoly tournament that will be coming around the corner very, very soon. I know McIntyre is already working diligently on that one, but right now we are getting ready for our next rounds of picks. You already saw a little bit while we were kind of discussing some of these picks earlier, what had already happened in round number 1 and round number 2. And just to kind of catch you all up, and if you didn't catch the graphic, in round number 3, we are starting out with Storm, going into Onyx, and then Chili Mountain and Granite Gaming, just to kind of catch everyone up as well. For this round number 3, this will be the last pick of Chili Mountain, so we'll see their full roster in a little bit once these players kind of figure out, these organizations figure out what players they specifically want to get going into the season. And speaking of going into the season, I'm still like ear to ear thinking about like the matchups that we're going to be having. Like, I can't wait for 30K to go up against Oxygen. I think with the rosters we've seen from both those teams so far, like that's the match in my head that I'm most excited for, with what's been filled out. McIntyre, any thoughts from you as well?
I mean, definitely that would be a fun match. Talking about Oxygen too, you have Cavalier, the coach, the brewmaster, and then now these introduction of new flavors to add to his beer. There's no telling what he'll do with having Draded and Heavy on the roster, right? So it's so hard to tell, dude. I don't know. We may have a Wildheart version 2, right? But this one is more calculated, whereas Wildheart tends to just kind of vibe with what they're feeling. Cavalier and Oxygen are typically weighing each of their ingredients out before they put the recipe together. So
I was waiting for the food analogy to begin. I was like, what's the comparison? What is like one of these drafts just going to be like, well, it's not food, but is one of the drafts like Wildheart feels more like freeform jazz, where it's just a lot of noise, and it kind of makes sense a little bit. Whereas maybe there's a little bit of chaos, but at the same time, it makes a lot more sense. So kind of like classical music, maybe from Oxygen in a sense, where there are some loud, big moments, but it's all very, very well defined and tuned together. I think that's maybe the direction we'll see these teams go. But I think there is that explosiveness from Oxygen going into the season, and we'll see if they can innovate once again. I mentioned beforehand, they were big innovators in Season 1 when it came to some of our heroics and even some of the drafts for some of these maps. Definitely the forefront. I keep bringing up Monstrosity Abathur, but Grubby, how often do you see Monstrosity Abathur in the Storm League games you play?
More often after those matches, actually,
really?
by Oxygen, but not as well played. I mean, it needs a lot of time buying in defensive play, and Storm Leaguers generally aren't the best at slow, cerebral defensive play. There's a lot of attacking, and I'm guilty of that too. I'm no better than them. I'm just saying it's pretty aggressive out there on Storm League.
We call it limit testing, Grubby. Limit testing.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of limit testing and limit exceeding as well.
It's a very bad plays in Storm League. It's not a bad play. We're testing our limits. Okay.
Yeah, we're just figuring out if this wombo combo works or if I'm just feeding 9 times. We'll have to see. Lobber's usually the one to kind of test those things out in CCL for all of us, and maybe BBJ can stop them from failing the test. Maybe that's the best way to put it. But we are going to get, as I said, into our next round of our draft here, and we have got Alcove from Storm Esports joining us. Welcome in, Alcove. Let's find out. What are you going to be picking up here for, what is this, your, I believe, 4th pick of the draft?
Yes, it is. So going into this next round, a lot of discussion been happening. We are going to be going with Collusion.
Wow. Okay. McIntyre, Collusion. That's a player you might know a little bit of.
So Collusion, mostly known for support, but I do know that way back when he was on tank. Is there a direction that you are wanting to go with him? Maybe a flex role even? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think we're a little open to the direction for the role right now. Trying to figure out the best position for him. I think a little bit of a flex, a little bit of a here and there. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, not giving away all of the secrets of Storm Esports just yet. Grubby, do you have any questions for Alcove?
What did you like the most about Collusion?
We like the potential in the picks with him.
Okay,
that gives you any heads up.
It's like it's like a fortress trying to get information out of you. Like you're just locked down right now, Alcove. You're not even giving us an inch. So
I like it, man. With the plan still has a few picks left. Doesn't want to give anything away.
I like it absolutely. It's a smart play, and there are, as Grubby just said, a few other picks. But I want to ask you just lastly. Is Collusion, is it a little bit of the name and the history as well that you're considering into all this? When he comes to your team like? Does he bring a lot of draft knowledge that you're going to utilize, or is it still just that steel fortress with he's a good player?
I think it's quite literally he's a good player, and we're gonna ride that out. So
cool.
All right. Well, a lot to learn from Collusion for Storm Esports. Congratulations on your pickup, and we'll see you a little bit later in the draft.
Thanks, guys.
Grubby, Alcove's giving us nothing here. I was like, maybe we can find out a little bit more, and he's just like, yeah, it's a flex. He's really good. Yeah.
Reminds me. Actually, he's giving a lot when you compare him to some players. It reminds me a lot of some of the like Cyril in the early StarCraft 2 days. Actually, myself when I was 18, that's a long time ago by now. A bit too long. Let's not dwell on that too much. But I didn't used to want to talk to interviewers at all because why would you give any strategy away?
Yeah.
You know, that's before I considered maybe the marketing or the social networking aspects of it. But he is essentially in the middle of his performance right now, right?
That's true.
He's still got picks coming. So if he thinks that's important at all, then he shouldn't give any information. I respect that. At the same time, we're going to try to get it out of him. So prepare for the next round. We're coming for you, Alcove.
We'll see Alcove definitely in the next round. And it is, yeah. It's I think right now is a little bit of also that we're on the wire for a lot of these these organizations because they don't want to show any sort of signs of interest into a player that might get picked up by, Onyx, Chili Mountain, or Granite Gaming, because we still have 3 more picks in this round, and then we still have 3 more rounds after this one. So a lot of drafting still to happen for HeroesCCL draft day. McIntyre, any thoughts from the Collusion pickup as well? I kind of want to pick your brain as you've played with this player, you know them a little bit more than Grubby and I do.
Yeah, I think, a highlight that you even just made, a lot of the other teams have taken those DPSs. They've taken those kind of supports. So to kind of get something in the middle with Collusion, being able to take a pick that the other teams may have wanted away from them, and then still know that they're probably going to get their ranged assassins. It is a strategy definitely in itself. I also highlight with Collusion. He's a really hungry player. He's motivated. He was probably one of the best stitches in the game at a point in time.
If only that was still useful now.
Hey,
I know, right?
Wait a second.
I
didn't
never
say it.
Look, I got a shout out from, what was it? Season, like one of the earlier seasons of Community Clash League when we did it with a bunch of streamers. Leon Black played a Stitches on Tomb of Spider Queen and had like 50 some regeneration globes for that level 1 quest. It was I will never forget that Stitches, because I'm just like, I want to see more Stitches in our CCL seasons like that, because as much as we meme about like some of these, like Grubby kind of said it earlier, like these lower tier healer or players, or not players, excuse me, heroes, I think that there's like a niche little area to play some Stitches. You catch the enemy team off guard, you go for a portal comp with Medivh, or you just go kidnap. There's a lot of ways to go about this. And I think, Mac, you make a really good point to kind of wrap this up. Collusion has tank prowess from their past, but also healing. So I think Alcove's winning out with a lot of flex through Collusion. But all that aside, we've got Chris from Onyx back ready to go for another pickup. Welcome back, Chris.
Hey.
Are you excited for another pick for Season 2 of HeroesCCL?
Oh, it's getting quite dirty here, to be honest.
Wow!
But I love it. It's really intense. I didn't expect it to be so intense.
What's going on behind the scenes? What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell that there are players taken who shouldn't be taken. But we want our boy back.
Okay. So with that, what does Onyx have for us?
We're going with a strategic pick here for the remaining draft, and we are taking
Copenhagen. Okay. So this will be a solo laner, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Yep. McIntyre, please, by all means, take it away on this one. That's your prowess.
I've been watching Copen stream. He's got an insanely high win rate right now in Storm League. I know that for sure. Is there a character? Okay. Yes. Yeah. It may be. He may be doing, but he does. To win over and over and over, it takes skill. Is there something about him outside of just his skill that Onyx is interested in? Or, hero pool, maybe communication skills, any of those highlights?
I I could make a lot of stuff up right now, but I'm just being purely honest because I think the recent ones were also quite funny. Who are in the chair of me. So yeah, it's mostly to taking up some pressure to someone else. But I'm pretty sure. So general, of course, taking me. Copen is a super good player. He's like excellent good, and with one young guy like Yuki, he could learn a hell out of a guy from Copen. So yeah, so there will be definitely a great situation with him if it's coming to that. But I feel like there's more coming. There's more coming. We're just getting started here, I believe.
Okay. When you said strategic pick, I just get this image of you. You come here in your suits and you think, okay, everyone kind of knows what's going to happen. We're going to play nice. We have agreements, and then suddenly something happens and you have a bargaining chip here. But if you get stuck with him, you're still happy with him. But I believe we may have trades coming on down the line later, but we'll see about that. Thank you so much for sharing that little
it will get more exciting, I guess. But we'll see. Thank you very much for having me, and see you later again.
Thank you for joining us, Chris from Onyx. That's going to be a pick onto Copenhagen. So a secondary offlane for Onyx. And Grubby, I think you might have figured that one out a little bit right there. This might be a bit of a trade token for Onyx. Do you think they might be trading up for maybe a main tank or a support play or something?
All I know is someone had Copenhagen on their wish list. and he's holding on to it. So hostages have been taken. But again, he's a good player. You won't be like, maybe whatever trade anyone envisioned suddenly doesn't happen. And then they're on your roster. So we'll see. Spicy things are coming up.
I do want to... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can't think of the name of it. It's a game you play at Christmas where everyone has different names for it, but you grab an item and then the next person...
White Elephant?
Yeah, and the next person can trade and trade and trade. And it seems like this is like, for Chris, it's his strong and Onyx. They're picking something that they know they want. They want something else, definitely, right? But they know somebody else wants the Chipotle gift card, right? Like, they've made that strategic decision. And we'll see if it pays off. I mean, that's exciting stuff, right?
It's gonna be hard to trade up for that for the Chipotle gift card right there. I agree though, Mac. I think there might be a little bit of a chess kind of play in this sense. Like you're really trying to pick something up and force one of the other teams or organizations to go for that trade. And we'll see how that works out for Onyx in the future. As we progress, though, I do think there is a really good point to be made, though. When you have this double off lane, and let's say the trade doesn't happen, and Copenhagen stays with the team, and you have this double off lane, I still think with the way that HeroesCCL plays out, being able to substitute players in before a map starts, that's a great way to kind of be like, all right, we have one play style on, let's say, Dragonshire with just Uki, and we then jump to Garden of Terror, and we've got Copenhagen who's going to pull out some Vikings at the last second. And so you have two different kind of solo laners, off laners with different hero pools, different play styles and tactics. In the end, this actually could still be, regardless of trades, a really great pickup for Onyx, I think, here, Grubby.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up maps, Bahamut, because there are a number of maps in the pool that really benefit from having more than one off laner. Garden of Terror, Alterac Pass, which will be introduced in this season for the first time in CCL. And Sky Temple can also be played with double or triple bruisers. Everyone has to be good at dueling. Everyone has to be good at controlling the map, clearing waves, getting away, escaping ganks in those deep, dangerous lanes. So it definitely offers that flexibility as well, even if he doesn't get traded for someone that has already been picked, not going to be picked. Someone has already been picked that he wanted.
Yep. I mean, looking at I'd say what comes to mind for me too with two offlaners is something like college football, where you would have two quarterbacks that are both really good. They both will play up to each other. So they by having them on the team, while one may start and one won't, they'll both try even harder to kind of play above that player. And we'll see if this choice does stay with Copen between these two players, if that will be the same as well. They'll learn from each other. They'll kind of adapt to each other and make the team just stronger, right? So I like that as well.
I like Grubby's point earlier as well. We have been seeing these triple bruiser compositions. So having someone who can play a Hogger and then someone else who can play a Sonya, or having players that can literally swap onto those heroes and have two different play styles, like Uki's Hogger is going to be different than Copenhagen's, and same thing with Sonya as well. So having two different prowesses on solo lane heroes, I really, really like that tactic as well. And this is just a little bit of theory crafting as we're waiting to get into our next pickup for our HeroesCCL draft day. It's just the theory crafting of these rosters is so exciting because everything is just paper right now. It's like when you read patch notes, you sit there and you go, wow, on paper that looks busted, and then you actually get in the game and you're like, wow, that's really not good at all. Like it's just I'll never actually get that combo.
It's so hard actually. Like patch notes, when you read them, like I get more and more disconnected from reality when I'm reading patch notes. I feel so out of sorts usually right afterwards, and staying stable-minded during reading patch notes and sticking to what you know is actually quite difficult. So I wonder whether the actual performance anxiety of today's rather hectic draft show is getting to any of the managers.
Oh, we'll actually get a new manager in right now. We've got Sid Kitten from Chili Mountain coming in for their last pick of the HeroesCCL draft day for Chili Mountain. And welcome in, Sid. I gotta ask. I mean, I've been asking this from all the orgs who are kind of wrapping up their drafts. Are you feeling comfortable getting into this last pick here?
You know, Baha, this really shook up our plan for today, this 6th pick. We had, like I said, our sticky notes and our plan, and we're just really excited about the 6th pick. So I'm ready to tell you if you are.
Please, yeah, we'd love to hear who is going to be the 6th pick for Chili Mountain for season 2.
So our 6th pick is Caterpillar.
Wonderful. Oh, so wrapping up your draft with a leader like Caterpillar, McIntyre, I'm going to throw this over to you. You've had some experience playing against Caterpillar.
I'm curious, is Cattle coming on as that tank? Is he coming on as I know an off lane was something that Chili Mountain may be looking for. What's the direction that you guys are going to go with him on your team?
Yeah, so like I said, this kind of was a surprise for us today and in our draft picks. We were just so surprised that he was still available this late into the draft, honestly. And we were like, how can we not pick up Cattle? So he is a really knowledgeable player. He has insight into the NA scene. We're looking at him as more of like a tank if needed. So we're just really excited to have him.
Good synergy built through Cattle as well. Grubby, any thoughts here or any questions for Sid on the pickup on Cattle, or even, as we're looking at it right here, the full roster of Chili Mountain?
You have, from what looks like, mostly a European roster, and you mentioned that Caterpillar has that knowledge into the NA scene. So was that always something that you kept in mind? You said it was a surprise, but did you want to have a mixture of the regions, or is that something that formulated itself just recently?
Yeah, so these Discord calls are crazy. We have a plan that we start out with, and then as the draft goes on, we're like, wait, who did they pick? What just happened? So things move quick, and we're just so happy to be able to pick up Cattle now. Like I said, it wasn't something that we specifically planned to have somebody in NA or EU. We were kind of looking for the person who would be the most optimal in our team.
He's an optimal player as well with a slew of knowledge of Heroes of the Storm. I'm excited to see what Cattle's able to do for Chili Mountain. And Sid Kitten, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your pickup on Cattle to round out your roster for Season 2 of HeroesCCL.
Thanks, guys.
Grubby, what are your thoughts on all this? I think Cattle as a sub or even a main tank or that kind of that rotating role, I think this is great. There's draft knowledge. There's even just a coaching that Cattle can offer for the team. Do you think this is a big win for Chili Mountain?
I do think it is. Even though it wasn't planned to combine EU and NA expertise and knowledge, I cannot overstate enough how important it is to be active in a region in order to understand it. It's one thing to study replays and VODs from another region, but we have seen time and time again in Heroes of the Storm Esports and other games that studying a region from afar is not enough to understand why the meta is the way it is. We see this divergent evolution, and it's only when the species of two different landmasses meet that you get to see which is the stronger. So having that knowledge in advance, one leg up. And I think Chili Mountain is looking stronger already. than they looked in Season 1 with their roster. Great roster they assembled. Looking forward to see what they can do.
Is looking forward to Chili Mountain's roster to perform in Season 2 as well. But I'm also looking forward to finding out what the pick is going to be from Granite Gaming as we welcome back in Kim. How are you doing, my friend? Are you enjoying the draft day so far?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said before, just tired, but otherwise good.
Well, we got you here ready to go. Let's find out what is going to be your round 3 pickup for Granite Gaming.
If I show you this.
Swamp Grotta.
Yes.
So why the mushroom?
So Swamp Grotta will be our 3rd pick, yes.
Oh, Grubby was asking, why did you pick up Swamp Grotta?
I think we found out that he will go back to offlane. And I think he's one of the probably best mechanical players out there, in my opinion.
Okay.
And he's like a man full of surprises. You probably see a Murky or something popping out.
Oh.
I don't know.
Don't tempt me like that, Kim. That's you better bring out a Murky then for Season 2 of CCL with Swamp Grotta. That's what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. It's you all clip it. Someone in chat, please clip it. Send it to me, and I'll just keep replaying that every single time we have Granite. Thank you for joining us, Kim. We'll look forward to seeing your picks later on in the draft day.
Thank you.
This Swamp Grotta pickup, Grubby, I'm not really surprised by it. He's such a strong hero, and his solo lane in Season 1 was really, really strong as well. It's a notable player. I think Kim put it perfectly, mechanically savvy as well.
But he's a re-pickup.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at 2.
Yeah.
Skoog and Swamp Grotta, yes.
So if we go one more...
Yeah, if they pick up another, then releasing everyone was objectively wrong. Because that will hurt their the order of picks for other picks. So maybe these are the 2 that they wanted. So if Nintori... Okay, Yasu's already gone. If Nintori Henning gets picked up, because I don't think Nick is playing. If Nintori and Henning get picked up, then... But it's probably not going to happen, because then it wouldn't make sense. So good vibes there with their ex-players coming back on the board. Granite Gaming will have the most picks tonight. This was their 3rd. They've got 3 left. Looking forward to see where they're going to take it.
This is the draft board you can actually all see right now. We've seen round 1 and 2 already, and we just wrapped up round 3 with Storm picking up Collusion, Onyx picking up Copenhagen. We've got Chili Mountain grabbing Caterpillar, and Granite Gaming grabbing Swamp Grotta, as we just saw. Boys, we're into the latter half of this. And we've only got a few picks. If my math serves me right, we've got about 7 picks left. Which out of 150 or so players that are available, it's getting narrow. And if I'm one of those players that want to play in Season 2 of CCL, I might be a little nervous here. Or I might be sitting there calm knowing I'm going to be picked up later in the draft. There were some early priors that were a little over me, and I'm going to be sitting fine, eating my popcorn, and just sipping a little juice. I don't know about you, but I'd be worried personally, McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of slots here to be drafted. I think even every role at this point seems to be open. I don't think there's any doors that are closed just yet. Definitely a little stressed as some of the players that have not been chosen. But like I said, I think that those doors are still open. There are choices that need to be made. And we'll find out here really shortly what those choices will be.
We're ready to go into round 4 of our draft, and we will welcome back Chris from Onyx. Welcome in, my friend. We've seen so much of you. It's like we see like 1 or 2 orgs and you're back again. So with that, what's going to be your round 4 pickup for Onyx?
This time we make it short and sweet. So we're picking up Valamar.
Valamar, a player that has, I believe this is a North American player that really had some standout moments during the free agent tournament. McIntyre, any questions for Chris here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Valamar, so a great pick. I know for me, his Brightwing is one character that I hate to play against when he's on it. It's obnoxious. He's always there on his Zs. His polymorphs are always on time. Was this something that you looked at when choosing him to be a part of your team?
Correct, yes. So first of all, he really impressed in the free agent tournaments. This is for sure. And actually, what I believe is good for the comp. So Valamar is like a really relaxed and chill dude, actually. So also in communications, he shouts out the most important stuff, but otherwise he's a little bit more laid back.
Nice.
So the voice channels are more free. I think it's, of course, it's good that everyone is talking and he is talking. But I think it's not the right thing that if just everyone is like, not everyone is a shot caller. Not everyone is like the guy who's saying which direction goes. And he's very good, in following the orders, and he's an exceptionally good player. So this is the whole package in the end, which was giving us him.
Thank you so much for the insight into the pickup this time. You weren't the Steel Fortress like some of the other organizations today, so we get at least a little insight into the pickup on Valamar. Congratulations on your pick, and we will see you in the next round for your last pick in just a little bit.
Sounds good. Talk to you in a couple of minutes, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fast rolling show. Speaking of fast rolling show, Grubby, I mean, McIntyre was just saying Valamar has this Brightwing that's just so difficult to play against. I'm curious yourself, like when looking at some of these players, and there's just a slew of them, when you look back or think to them, are there any players you're just like, God, you know what? That player has like an insane Samuro, and I'd never want to go against them in CCL. Is there anything like that for you as we're kind of getting to the end of our show here?
You know, there's a number of players left yet that are very much known for certain heroes. For example, they're still on the flex DNA Galaxy. I really like watching his Imperius. And, you know, that's not a hero that a lot of people play anymore at this time. Don't know if he's going to get picked up or not. But anyway, nice imp, man. Yeah, just there's so many good players left in the pool. And we're getting to the final nitty-gritty bit.
And speaking of getting to anything, we're going to get into another interview here with Alcove from Storm Esports. My friend, welcome back in. What is going to be your 5th pick for HeroesCCL Season 2?
Thanks, guys. Going into this last pick, we're going to be going with somebody we've been looking at since the beginning, and it is going to be Dayquaza.
Oh, Dayquaza. That's a strong pickup for the solo lane, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to throw it over to Grubby. I'm curious, do you have any questions on this Dayquaza pickup?
Yeah, I was wondering whether he was going to be picked up and when. Felt comfortable enough to leave him until this round. But Dayquaza is a great player. What impressed you the most about him?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, you know, he's just a really strong player in that off lane. I think me and the Storm team would also say he's just probably one of the best EU off laners in general. So, I mean, what's not to love about that, right?
For sure. Makes sense. Just a good pickup. Thank you for sharing that.
McIntyre, any questions for Alcove as well for the solo lane pickup?
Yeah, I mean, filling out the off lane, something you guys were after for sure. I think Dayquaza is a great choice. So congrats on that. I'm gonna try to penetrate the fortress here a little bit. You know, we obviously have a pick coming up soon. Your options are vast. Is there a direction that you guys might want to go, or are you going to keep it flexible, as you guys have seemed to continue to do here in this draft?
Are you talking in terms of our last pick here? Or
yes. Yep.
Yeah, I think we're still a little open on it. We're definitely looking to get those heavy hitters, like in terms of damage out, and make sure we're doing what we can. But I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the best I got for you on that one.
For sure.
Hopefully that was enough.
Yeah.
Exactly what I needed. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see you in just a little bit, Alcove, for that last pick, that heavy hitter, if you will, and good luck out there.
Alrighty. Thanks so much.
This Dayquaza pick, though, I actually do like that we're getting to the latter half of the draft day here. Not the end of the show, as I said earlier, but just the some of these last rounds and the solo lane and even just the priorities are kind of all over the place. We just had a support. Now we're seeing off lane. Before that, there was a pick onto Cattle who made it into like round number 3, which is, as Sid Kit was saying, I'm a little blown away by that as well. McIntyre, any impressions into this later half? Do you think it's kind of anyone's game, or do you think it's still going to be some of those big names, like potentially like Marlowe or Fancy Pants Kelsier for DPS?
Yeah, I mean, for Storm, definitely those names come to mind. It really comes down to now, these teams are kind of filling out, right? As we were just talking with Storm, they pretty much have a full roster they could play at this point with the 5 that they have. Which way do they go? Do they commit deeper into a ranged assassin pool? Do they commit deeper into a melee assassin pool? Do they want a second support? So these are the kind of things that I think the teams are thinking about at this point. And we'll figure out, which direction I think we have Granite coming up next. If they choose to go.
Let's welcome back in Kim from Granite Gaming and find out what their 4th pick of the draft is going to be. Welcome in, Kim.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm ready to go for it as well. Like, what do we got here for your 4th pick of Granite Gaming?
It'll be Ty.
Ty is going to be coming in. Okay. What is I'm curious myself, what is the priority for Ty here? I know that they were on the 30K roster last season. Is there anything that stood out from that, or was it just they're a really good player and you're excited to have them sort of deal?
There is I would say like he been in Granite before as well. So we like him as a person and as a player. And we think that he could pop off on plenty of like heroes, like Tracer and Zeratil and stuff like that. So,
are we gonna see any The Butcher coming from him?
I don't know. Butcher Murky, probably good comp.
Ooh, Kim, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. I mean, I'm ready for the season to start. Let's skip a couple weekends and get into some of these games. But thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the pick onto Ty, and we'll see you in the next round for a follow-up pick.
Thank you.
Ty is a great pickup here, I think, for Granite Gaming. Like, I think McIntyre, I see you nodding. I was impressed from Ty from the previous season.
He was a great range assassin, and like Kim just highlighted, his flexibility in characters, being able to play Tracer, being able to play Zeratul. Like, these are great selling points for drafting a player. Not all players are flexible. So having one that is, I'm a ranged assassin, but also I have a really sick Kerrigan, like that's something we love to highlight. And I think in Ty's case, he has that kind of package and flexibility. So a great pickup there from Granite.
You make a really good point on the flex aspect, and not even so much of just flexing into like your role still, like going from range to melee DPS. Because Grubby, if memory serves me right, Ty had some outstanding Deathwing games in season 1, and that was actually something that really stood out to me when they actually jumped onto that hero, even though they're a ranged assassin player. That's a really cool factor for Granite Gaming.
Yeah, he seems pretty versatile. When you do melee assassin, you do Deathwing, that's kind of like Bruiser, and then he plays Li Ming. A lot of different heroes. Just we also don't know if and when there will be a next patch for Heroes of the Storm, making some balance changes. So anyone now picking up the Hoggers offlaners, if that hero gets nerfed, what he got left, if you're a Hogger OTP, I mean, I'd be scared. I'm scared.
It's been really interesting throughout the draft day.
Don't be scared. I'll give you a hug.
No, but here, Grubby, we've got you. We've got you.
Hogger will be nerfed, and you'll be okay, Grubby.
Thank you very much. But versatility is resilience for future patches, so it's important for that as well.
I'm excited about whatever future patches we get. I'm also excited to find out what Storm Esports are going to be picking up for their last pick here in the HeroesCCL draft. Welcome back, Alcove, for the final time from Storm Esports. We've been sitting here trying to pick your brain all afternoon to get some information out of you, but here, we're ready to go. Your final pick of the day, what is it going to be?
All right, so going into this last one, someone that we feel like is going to be able to just keep up and do what they need to do. And our last pick is going to be CPX.
Okay, CPX coming out for Storm Esports. McIntyre, thoughts on this or any questions for Alcove?
Gotta love the CPX. Is there a utilization of his character pool, or is it just his energy that you guys are really endorsing at Storm?
Yeah, I think for me, it's a little bit of both. His energy is quite literally off the wall. So I'm super excited about it. And I mean, the guy, what's not to love? He's great. So I'm excited to get him on, and I feel like he's going to be able to just do what we need him to do in games and go for it.
I'm just curious here. Like we've had a lot of rounds. There's maybe you can open up a couple of the windows and give us a peek into the stronghold that is Storm Esports. Did you have anything sniped from you today? Did you get everything you wanted out of the draft day for HeroesCCL?
So yeah, I think we actually came out on top. So I'm feeling super good about it. I mean, the draft has been it's been fun so far, right? There's been a lot of stuff going on in the background, and I think overall, like we're feeling really good. We've got the exact lineup we've been looking for and the players we've been wanting to put into place. So, I mean, it's gonna be great.
Grubby, any questions for Alcove?
Should we be expecting any trades coming up, or are you 100% locked in? You think?
I think there could be some potential trades happening this week. But at the same time, I mean, we're feeling really good about all the players. So, I mean, if there aren't, everything's looking great on our end. So,
yeah,
cool.
It's a fantastic roster. Oh, go ahead, please, Matt.
I was just gonna say, I really do love the energy of your team. I think that if there was one thing that is super hype about Storm is that Lauber, he's got a team that's going to follow him wherever he chooses to go, and to see that kind of unfold in this new season, I'm excited for
it. Yeah, same here. I mean, that makes two of us for sure.
I mean, all of us. Oh, please, Grubby.
Your first the icebreaker tournament matchup. Your first opponent is going to be Onyx. Do you want to do any score predictions?
Oh man, I don't think we want to go there.
Okay.
Well, I love
Alcove,
the guys at
thank
Onyx
you.
are great,
Yeah, let's just have a good match. Everyone's
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll definitely have some good matches. We'll have some good matches that day. Thank you so much, Alcove, for joining us, and congratulations on your roster for HeroesCCL Season 2. Thank
you so much. We're stoked to be here.
I'm glad that we're glad to have you, my friend. That's honestly a really cool roster. Mac, I was actually kind of hitting on a couple of facts about Lauber, but even then, like, I think BBJ is a big factor in this. Like, it's actually like I keep thinking about this roster, and it's BBJ and Lauber is going to be the core of this, and everything else is going to stem out from them, in my opinion. There are really good players through and through, but I think those are going to be the big anchors for the side of Storm Esports throughout Season 2 of CCL. I'm curious though, as Grubby was kind of trying to pull out from Alcove right there, if we see any potential trades. There are a lot of really good players on the side of Storm Esports, and I wonder what they could be tempted with to potentially get a trade offer or to trade one of those players away. Because I wouldn't be hounding after these players, but there's some that I'd be like, ooh, I wouldn't mind having that actually on my team.
And Bahamut, how long for the viewer do people have to make these trades? How long do team owners have?
Oh, I wish I knew off the top of my head a lot faster. There might be something that pops up in the production chat in a little bit, but I want to say there's usually a couple, like if I remember back from the previous season, there's at least 2 to 3 weeks for like open trading to happen. I believe it was like just after the first weekend of HeroesCCL. When the first weekend or the official weekend starts, I believe it's after that is when the trade window closes. I'd have to double check on that fact though, to be correct, but we might get that information at some point popped up into an admin chat, and then we can correct it. Unless Mac, you absolutely know, and I've just been rambling about nothing.
I don't absolutely know. I do know that there is a rule set and that trades are definitely something that could happen. So while they could happen, I think even just the roster that team came up with is really, really strong. So excited to see what Onyx chooses as their last pick.
Yeah, we actually have Onyx ready to go. We've got Chris back with us once again.
Relaxing.
It's the final pick. Yeah, he's actually leaning back. He is ready to go. This time, Chris, you look a lot more comfortable than the other rounds. Is it because we're finally at the end, or is it because you're just so confident with this pick?
Well, many reasons. So first of all, it was a blast, but I'm also happy that it's over because you guys don't know this, but actually behind the scenes, there's war going on. And another orc won't like that I'm laughing this much right now. But in it, our final pick is going to be Jay.
Whoa, I like this a lot, actually. I'm sure McIntyre, I'm gonna throw it right to you because Jay is one of your favorite players.
Yeah. Big fan of Jay. I know that for me during the free agent tournament, especially, his flexibility was on point, and again, showing Vikings in like a good way, right? Is this something that you guys thought about, or was it again a personality, maybe him fitting well with the rest of your roster that you have?
Well, to be honest, also to answer Ba's question, so the trade window should be 1 week from now on.
Thank you.
And this will be likely the case here.
Yeah, you have a monopoly going on solo laners, so
Indeed, I'm gonna catch them all, I would say.
You're a very rich man.
No, I believe we have a good home for him, which is being discussed in the background while the drafting happens.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Awesome roster here.
I've been asking this of just about every organization, Chris, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this as well. Did you win out today, in your opinion? Did you get everything you wanted? Did you have maybe something stolen away that you're like, oh, I'm coming for you, X organization?
Actually, this happened with one particular player, and with Jay, we were able to bring it back to order. So I have my lineup, which I have wished for, which I've dreamed about. So I'm very, very happy and very, very proud of this. And next season will be exciting. It will be a blast. Because I honestly believe we have a super strong team, but a team with so much potential that over the next couple of seasons, it can go to the moon, to speak back to the terms here.
Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing your roster perform in HeroesCCL Season 2. And you have a wonderful night, Chris, and you can finally actually relax.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me, and great work, guys. Hopefully seeing you soon again. Bye-bye.
Glad to have you.
Glad to have you. Chris from Onyx just now joining us. That roster is quite stacked, but little interesting draft style, and I'm very interested to find out what this little war in the background is going to be for these organizations, and what the steal was from Onyx in that situation. I'm like, I can't wait to just start seeing the tweets come out or whatever information is going to come out throughout this week. The drafts, though, have been absolutely insane. Looking back at that roster, at least just talking about that more, Grubby, do you think that this is a roster to go top 3, or do you think it's going to need a little bit of coaching, maybe through Bad Benny?
Well, we have some excellent players on the team, but not all are proven on this stage yet. So that growth potential is definitely there. You always have to evolve during leagues like this. Bad Benny, of course, difficult to not mention. Like, Bad Benny is a legendary player and has a lot of accolades under his belt. And Godfield, he's done great in CCL Season 1 as well. But the rest kind of newer here on the roster here. So very curious to see. It could go great. It could be like a growing / learning season. And he's talking about next seasons already. I don't know anything about any next seasons, but he's in it for the long run. Glad to have him and have Onyx here, and we'll see how they do.
I love that level of energy. And speaking of energy, let's go ahead and bring on in Kim from Granite Gaming, and I'm sure they're wired right now with the 5th round pickup. Oh wow! All right, we have a costume change as well. We're going to be having a Granite shirt in as well. So Kim, welcome back. What is going to be your 5th pick for Granite Gaming?
The 5th pick will be actually
Henning coming back to the roster of Granite Gaming, if I'm not mistaken. Grubby, I can see you pensively thinking. Any questions here for Kim?
Why did you release everyone? Just to pick them back up?
There was actually not probably the main plan of everything. It was like after the season, we wanted to see or look for opportunities. But in the end, we think with the roster we have at the moment, putting Henning back, the synergy with the team and the players, I think that will be really, really good for us because they played a lot together.
Yep.
And so that's why we picked him now.
Great internal synergy. And since we have you here, you are the last pick as well. Could we find out what Granite's 6th pick will actually be on top of that?
Yeah, sure. Fancy Pants.
Ooh, Fancy Pants coming in for now. This is a player, if I'm not mistaken. This is a North American player, and they've been on the rise through kind of the Storm League community side or grassroots realm. What caught your eye about Fancy Pants?
I think he's a really, really solid range player, and I think that will fit our lineup perfectly.
Mac, any questions for Kim as we have the full roster established on Granite Gaming?
Yeah, no, I think that Fancy is a great choice, Kim, especially with your roster already. While maybe the structure was not what you anticipated, you are revisiting your structure in that lineup you had before and bringing on a new NA talent like Fancy Pants. to that roster. I mean, you already have Ultralisk, Ty. These are great players. I would say I'm curious as to who starts with this team, though, because there are so many talented players here in that range flex slot.
There's like, I think there's something that we'll find out. Yeah, when we practice together and do the scrims, and the one showing up the most, I guess, will be the ones start, and then we could probably swap players between the games. We'll see.
Definitely, a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of flexibility within this roster. A great roster you've put together here, Kim. Really excited to see how they perform in Season 2 of CCL. Wanted to just give an opportunity. Grubby, did you have any closing questions for Kim as we are wrapping up this roster?
Yeah, just to round things out, you have gotten back with a lot of the players that you had before. I think sometimes it makes sense. You move to another country, you're like, hey, actually, I love my original country the best. You come back in and you're like, you go back with what you know, you've got the experience together, you had your options open, but you've picked up some excellent players along the way, Ty and Ultralisk, and you have this strong roster, all European players that are going to be able to scrim together. Good job putting a solid roster together again, and good luck in the season.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to having you in the season, as Grubby just said, and congratulations once again on the roster you've built here on draft day for HeroesCCL Season 2. Kim, you have a wonderful night, and we look forward to seeing how you all perform.
Thank you. Likewise.
This has been such a fun day, Grubby and McIntyre. We've seen so many interesting pickups. I have seen a lot of pickups that I wasn't really expecting. There were a couple pickups, like for me, the big one that I have to say, number 6 in round 2, Hebi. It's a community member. They got picked up last season by Crowd Control. I think they played 1 game, and I just think they're a massively underutilized player going into this season. Grubby, is there anyone from this list, or even maybe the latter half of the draft, that you were like, oh yeah, I wasn't really expecting that person, or I'm excited to see X player play?
Well, straight up, like, I didn't know all these players. And, for example, I have personally not seen Mason Blaze in action. So a lot of the excitement for me and for us to be commentating Season 2 of CCL is getting to know these players together with chat. Chat is also going to sometimes think, hey, who's this player? Who's that? You don't have to know everyone. We will find out together, and we'll see what they're made of together. So that's what I'm excited about, seeing those new players coming in that have that roadmap of practicing, of knowing, hey, there was Season 1, here's Season 2, here's how to become a pro, free agent pool, practice, strive to improve, and then, get drafted into one of these teams. I think that's fantastic.
A lot of outstanding players were drafted today, and McIntyre, I do want to get your opinion on this as well. Was there someone that caught you off guard, or you're just like, oh, that's the pickup to have?
I would say that there weren't too many surprises. All of the orgs today really showed up on the draft. Looking at these teams now that they're all kind of finished, it's pretty difficult to say who's the favorite. Obviously, we can look at Chili Mountain, for example, here as we bring them up. Cattle. This is giving Chili Mountain, who maybe didn't have as much direction last season, a solid pillar of a captain, someone that is seasoned, played on BlizzCon stages, to give them a direction and help them kind of get to that next level, right? So I really love what Chili Mountain has done here in that last pick, bringing in Cattle as well as Azurite and Banana, 2 incredibly skilled players.
Moving into the Granite Gaming roster that we're seeing right now, this is the full drafted new roster for Granite Gaming, and we just said bye to Kim, and we were looking at this. This is a great roster, and I think it was you, McIntyre, or maybe it was Grubby asking this, who's going to be that starter between Ultralisk and Fancy Pants, maybe even Ty? It's going to boil down to some performance, but I really think that you could swap in Fancy Pants for Ty or Ultralisk, or there's a lot of swapping around for this sub role. I think Granite Gaming, albeit as we were kind of pointing out, they released everyone and then drafted back most of half their roster. This is still an insanely impactful roster. Grubby, thoughts on this 30K draft that we have in front of us?
Such a strong roster.
I know, it's hard to not say those words.
Yeah. I mean, Yasu, that maiden name is Lucio, Liam Vespertine on the Urel offlane. X-Ray now going to be a tank. That's going to still be a question mark despite a vote of confidence. Dino, some fantastic play. Hazuops, super solid. And then Fury as a backup. Wouldn't expect to see him as a backup. That just speaks volumes to the projected strength of 30K.
Just want to also let everyone know those roles will be updated properly when there is a blog post coming out that does explain all of the rosters, who's on what roster, the trade that probably went through, as well as I'm assuming the closing date for that trade window, as Chris from Onyx was mentioning earlier. So just want to let you all know, if you're confused a little bit about some of those symbols, it will be cleaned up. Regardless, we look over at the Oxygen Esports roster. They retained Red Robot, Nasmus, Cascon, and Madara, but picking up Draded and Heavy, I think that this was a big gain for Oxygen, and I think that they've got such an impactful and explosive draft going into Season 2 of CCL. This is the team, in my opinion, to watch out for.
Definitely. A lot of room to grow here, too, bringing on experienced talent with a fairly new roster there with the Red Robot and Madara, so I'm really excited to see where Oxygen goes with these two picks.
It's been a really fun day, and as always, the fun never stops with Wildheart, Grubby. This is Weary Day and Mason Blaze. These were kind of some of those. Weary Day played in last season for Wildheart, but Mason Blaze, that up-and-coming player. Do you think this is going to be a wrench and making a wrench into Wildheart in the sense of things get more chaotic, or do you think Mason Blaze, with some of their flexibility here, is going to just kind of control a little bit of Wildheart's chaos and maybe streamline these moments?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just gonna abstain from any predictions there and just let Wildheart surprise us with whatever is going to happen, or perhaps they will become full meta slave. Who knows? That'd be a surprise in itself. So either way, they can't fail in that. And then we've got Simplicity here, the final roster that we're showing. The winners of Season 1, mostly recreated into the team that got there so far. Though Masquerade wasn't part of it for the whole season, of course. Some wins were picked up before that. Same with Legacy. But great roster, picking up Hosty and then Funds as well.
Really great. Now, getting into our new rosters, or our new organization, we do have Onyx here, picked up Bad Benny, Uki, Valimar, Got Filth, Copen, and Jay. Mac, you sung the praises of Jay.
Yeah.
Do you think what do you think of this Onyx draft?
I'm a fan of this team. This is these are like the guys you don't think are as strong as they look, and then you play against them and you're like, wait, do I need to reconsider everything? I feel like these are the players, and Onyx did a great job of picking up players that really specialize, and as Chris highlighted, just the communication flow, like that. Those are important things, not clashing in comms. All of those things considered, this draft here by Onyx is really strong.
Lastly, we take a look at Storm Esports, Lauber, Dequaza, the trade for BBJ, CPX, IB Tings, and Collusion coming in as well. You mentioned, this is Onyx was a team to watch out for, but this one too, the leadership of Lauber and the skill and knowledge of BBJ, all throw that in with the history of IB Tings and Collusion. This is a bit of a Goliath to fight against, Grubby, in my opinion.
Yeah, they look very, very strong. Though CPX didn't look as strong in Season 1, and IB Tings personally, I don't know him that well. So I would say half of that draft looks rock solid, and then half of it will yet remain to be proven, I think. Since
we just looked through all those rosters, I just want to kind of get almost just like a gut check or a gut reaction from both of you. And I'll go ahead and give my answer right now. I think 30K is one of the it's a toss up between 30K and Oxygen as the team to beat. I think that they had such strong drafts and draft day. McIntyre, what are your thoughts? Do you have a team or a draft that kind of won out regardless of how they actually perform? Like on paper, who do you think wins out is, I guess, a better way to phrase that.
I think personally for me, I'm going to, again, hype on Onyx. I really like that roster a lot. I think personality-wise, they're going to mesh really well. A lot of new players as well. I love putting new players with old players and experienced players. They've done a great job there with that. The runner-up for me would probably be WildHeart. With the introduction of Mason Blaze, he's also just a great mind for the game, and to introduce him to a team that's as wild as WildHeart is, I think really cool things could come out of them.
Just really quickly, I want to get your gut check as well, Grubby. Was there a team that kind of stood out to you that was built out? You're like, ooh, I'm excited to see them, or even like, yeah, that's the team to beat.
Yeah, I think Simplicity is the team to beat.
Okay.
As our previous winner with a recreated roster. And I think 30K is the biggest winner of the draft. So I think between those two teams, we may, pending further developments, have two of the favorites for the league. But, you know, players have their own destiny in their own hands. And this is just a snapshot today. Anything can happen.
We talked about a lot about the draft today. Let's actually talk about next weekend. We were talking about who wins out, who's got a stronger draft. Well, next weekend, ladies and gentlemen, we can see what those rosters and drafts will actually look like. We're going to start out next Saturday, April 24th, 1 o'clock PDT, 4 o'clock EDT, 10 p.m. CEST. 4 best of threes. That'll be myself, Grubby, and McIntyre giving you all the coverage for that day. And you can see right here, Grubby mentioned it earlier in our show, Onyx versus Storm Esports. That is the two new organizations going head to head to start out that day. Oh, I gotta say, that is the key matchup for me to kick off that weekend. And also to note, on the 25th, which is Sunday of next weekend, we have 2 best-of-3 semifinals and then a best-of-5 grand finals. If anyone's wondering how the format flows, it's very, very similar. Actually, it's pretty much exactly similar to the way that we ran the free agent tournaments. Yep. Looking at this, looking at the bracket right now, McIntyre, what do you feel? Any predictions from you? I know you usually like to look at these things and kind of break it down. Do you have any sort of big winners in the matchups?
I mean, I'm actually really having a hard time here. Especially at the beginning of the season, right? We have to let teams settle in a bit, kind of figure themselves out. For some, it's obvious, as we've said, WildHeart, Simplicity. These are rosters that stayed pretty core. They've added 1 or 2 players. They should excel in a tournament like this. But at the same time, you have the energy and the excitement of the new orgs coming in and those new rosters with Onyx, Granite, and Storm. Just showing up and being like, "Hey, we're here, guys. We're gonna play to the best of our ability." I can't really make a judgment, but I am excited nonetheless.
We're all ecstatic for the Icebreaker tournament next weekend. And with the Icebreaker tournament kicking off, we got to open up a prize pool for you all. So we do have the prize pool up and available. Type in, as you can see right now, ! prize pool in chat, and you'll be linked over to the Matcherino for it. I'm ecstatic. There's actually, if anyone didn't know this, Matcherino worked with us for the season, and we have a whole custom website through Matcherino. It looks like, go chat right now. Like, regardless if you want to give your $5 now or tomorrow or the next day or next weekend, go at least just check it out right now. It is such a cool website. I was blown away by how unique they made it to CCL. They used our color palettes. It looks branded for CCL, and every time I look at it, I just keep smiling because it's so cool. We have our own kind of CCL page on Matcherino. This is such a great way, and as always, you can support the prize pool for the season through that page. We look forward. Oh God, I look forward to that, to just seeing that website consistently. Anyways. Let's kind of wrap things up, though. We are kind of at the end of our show right now, and I want to get your thoughts here, Grubby. What was the kind of the standout moment, or maybe the standout pick or draft from our draft show today?
Well, I'll be remembering 30K with their draft trade again, getting X-Ray there. We saw 3 teams build up their team from scratch, from the ground up, 6 players. I think that technically it's a disadvantage since a lot of talent was still locked into, protected by teams that had played before. But I think they've done a great job of creating teams that look undeniably strong, despite having to take all 6. And it speaks much to everyone who signed up in the free agent pool. I want to thank everyone for signing up in the free agent pool, putting yourself out there, practicing, and trying to get noticed. And commiserations to everyone who didn't make it. But if we are fortunate enough to have a season 3, a ninja is always ready to fight. So keep practicing. Don't give up, even if you didn't make it today.
Really, really good words from Grubby right there. McIntyre, closing thoughts on the day.
I'm just excited that we can do this. Excited that the orgs are fighting each other behind the scenes for these players. Like that's they really care, and the community really cares. So shout outs to everyone, the players, that makes this possible. It is, without you guys, it would not be, and I'm just glad that we can all be a part of it together.
I absolutely agree with you, McIntyre. CCL means the absolute world to me. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I watch the sun rise as I cannot sleep with the excitement of CCL upon us. And it's here. We have season 2. The draft is over. Next weekend, we've got our CCL Icebreaker Tournament. Do not miss out on Saturday and Sunday. That'll be brought to you by myself, Grubby, and McIntyre. And we will see you for 4 best of 3s on Saturday, 2 best of 3s, and a best of 5 grand final on that Sunday. Until then, we'll see you in the Nexus. Have a great night.